The beginning of the story was unremarkable. I was an ordinary reader who loved romance and fantasy novels. One day, I died unexpectedly and woke up in a world destined for destruction. I was reincarnated as a character from a novel I had read. Just like that, I became a woman with captivating long pink hair, stunning beauty, and inherited a huge fortune. As the supporting character, Miss Sherry, everything was fine while I was ignorant and squander my wealth. Until a completely accidental event occurred. Memories flooded my mind in an instant. It was insane. The novel I was reincarnated into was a complete and utter tragedy. Screams erupted everywhere. Monsters. Monsters. A poorly written romance novel with an apocalyptic survival theme. At that moment, I made up my mind. Many people were bitten to death by monsters. Sherry's pupils contracted in fear. She saw an axe fall beside her, and some others turned into monsters themselves. So I decided to survive until the very end, no matter what. To face the apocalypse, I found a shelter. The process was difficult, but I had to protect my family and my real people. My plan was supposed to proceed smoothly, until one day, an uninvited guest showed up. Then even the second male lead appeared. This went against my original intention of just wanting to live a quiet life. I kept getting entangled with the main characters of the novel. Is this really okay? It should be fine, right? The world finally collapsed. Screams tore through the sky. Cities were burning. Footsteps trod over slopes of blood. People cried out for help in despair. The roars of monsters and the screams of humans mingled into a chaotic mess. Just yesterday, this was a bustling village. The market was filled with the clamor of people. Screams rang out again as the crowd scattered and fled. It finally came. She saw a figure being devoured by a monster. A monster. Yes, it doesn't make sense, but that was a real monster. From now on, many people will be killed by monsters, and some others will also turn into monsters. Do you think I would let that happen to me? I can't die just like this. The story goes back 3 weeks. 2 women unfolded a newspaper. Oh my God, look. This Miss Sinclair is on the front page again this week. After all, no one gets more media attention than her. Miss Sinclair, a charming heiress with endless wealth. Although not of noble birth, she is highly sought after by the aristocracy. Sherry glanced back with a smile. That's right. That's me, Sherry Sinclair, a woman in the spotlight. The maid followed behind, panting. Miss, please wait a moment. Sherry was holding a pile of things. I have to load these into the carriage, but it seems there's no more room. This is a bit troublesome. Sherry looked around, confirming no one was watching. I'll move it. She easily lifted the heavy luggage. The maid was dumbfounded. Miss, you're so strong. You're both cute and strong. It's truly perfect, but people in high society probably don't like strong women, right? Sherry raised the corners of her mouth smugly. That's why I have to hide my strength. I'm still very envious, but I wasn't born like this. I used to be weak and sickly. My parents felt sorry for me and found a medicine for me. After taking it for a few years, I became a little stronger than others. The luggage is all packed. We should go. Sherry suddenly stopped in her tracks. Her expression turned grim. The maid asked with concern, Miss, what's wrong? Sherry shook her head. It's nothing, just a little dizzy. Let's go. She missed a step. Her body suddenly tilted backward. At that moment, everything changed. A sudden dizziness. I lost my balance. My head hit the floor hard. The intense pain felt like it was tearing me apart. Memories flooded in like a tide. A bright light flashed. Sherry woke up with a start, gasping. Sherry slowly sat up. The maid rushed in, anxiously calling out, Miss, are you awake? The maid asked urgently. The doctor said it's a mild concussion. Are you all right? Sherry responded in a low voice. I'm fine. The maid was still worried. Really? Should I call the doctor again? Sherry took the handkerchief. No, I'm fine. More importantly, she looked up, her eyes sharp. Bring me all the newspapers I've collected. The maid went to get them. Yes, I remember everything now. I remember who I am, and I remember this world. This is the world from the novel I read in my past life. A novel called End of Days Love. A novel set in a collapsing world. A low-budget apocalyptic survival romance novel. The female lead, Aurora, gathered all the male leads. They formed a survival team to find a cure for the virus. In the story, the survivors established various camps. The size of the camps represented their respective strengths. Aurora conquered the camps one by one, constantly expanding her influence. And my character, Sherry Sinclair, was a burdensome supporting character. She put the second male lead in danger and was eventually bitten to death by a virus monster. Sherry collapsed onto the bed. It's too absurd. In reality, I died in a helpless car accident, and this world is also destined for destruction. What should I do? No matter what, I can't stop the end of the world. No matter where I run. Wait, run away? Sherry looked up abruptly. That's right. Since the apocalypse is coming, I should be fully prepared. Sherry stepped onto the floor barefoot. I still have memories from my past life. I'm going to hide in a sturdy shelter to avoid the monsters that appear after the apocalypse. The maid pushed the door open. Miss, I'm back. You should be lying down and resting. Sherry reached out her hand to the maid, her eyes determined. Susanna, give them to me. I'm going to build my own shelter. There are already reports about the infected. Sherry spread out the newspaper. The headline of the Benton Times was shocking. Does this mean, oh my God, less than a month left until the destruction? There's not much time left. Just packing the necessities isn't enough. First, food, which is supplies. I already have a plan for that. Second is preparing funds. Money isn't a problem. Lastly, weapons to fight back. A cold smile formed on Sherry's lips. For this matter, asking that person is the best choice, right? Sunlight shone on the Sinclair manor. Miss, what do you mean by this? Harrison pushed up his glasses. You want me to prepare weapons for you? Why do you suddenly need weapons? This man is Harrison Howard, the Sinclair family's lawyer. Sherry took a sip of tea. Let's just say I suddenly want to protect myself. Since my parents passed away, he has taken over all of the family's affairs. To someone like me who has been lonely since childhood, he is like a brother. Harrison's smile was gentle, but his tone left no room for doubt. Please explain in detail what you plan to do with the weapons. What kind of trouble are you trying to cause now? Sherry thought to herself, it seems he won't let me off easily. I hope I can handle this myself. If I buy a large number of weapons under the name of Sherry Sinclair, it will undoubtedly attract attention. But if it's the capable Harrison, he can handle it cleanly. So I have to convince him. An idea flashed through Sherry's mind. The best excuse. She clasped her hands together, smiling brightly like a child. I have someone I want to shoot dead. That's it. Harrison's body suddenly stiffened. Sherry's smile vanished, her eyes turning sharp. I want to shoot a monster. This is the truth. This reason should be enough, right? That bastard. A cold glint flashed across Harrison's glasses. An ominous aura emanated from him. He interlaced his fingers, his voice bone-chillingly cold. Who is it? Harrison is overly protective. He will definitely investigate, rather than making up a lie. But it's better to create the atmosphere of a tragic heroine. Sherry lowered her eyes. That matter. I don't want to say it out loud. A brilliant choice of words. This way, he won't press any further. Harrison was silent for a moment. I understand for now. As for that bastard, we'll deal with him later. He pushed up his glasses. What kind of weapons do you need? Swords, crossbows, axes, things like that. I want them all. In that case, I will also find an instructor for you. Harrison stood up. But Harrison, I don't need an instructor. Harrison pushed up his glasses, his tone leaving no room for argument. Miss, this matter is not up for discussion. Anyway, there isn't much time. I probably won't even meet them. She sat up straight. If we're going to do this, let's do it thoroughly. I plan to build an armory as well. You know my personality, right? Harrison was expressionless. As you wish. Where will the armory be built? A village called Brunel. Harrison crossed his arms. Brunel, huh? Harrison probably doesn't know. It's not very far from the capital. He pulled a scroll from a pile of documents. His hand hovered over the map, precisely pointing to Brunel's location. Harrison asked, puzzled, Miss, why this particular village? Sherry tapped her chin with her fingertip. You ask why? Because that's how it was written in the novel. In the apocalypse, the most indispensable thing is food. Due to food shortages, the protagonist couldn't stay in one place for long. However, a supporting male character solved this problem. Sherry rested her chin on her hand. But that has nothing to do with me. 6 months before Aurora and her companions arrived, the mansion on Mount Rivanilla was like a fortress. He created a vegetable garden in the spacious courtyard. The mountains behind also made it easy to gather resources. Self-sufficiency is the first step to survival. In that sense, Brunel is the perfect place for survival. Sherry showed a relieved smile. My parents in my past life were farmers, and the knowledge I absorbed from them has come in handy. It's still 2 years until I meet the male lead who can develop the cure. I just need to survive these 2 years. But Harrison might die if things continue like this. I will never let that happen. He's the only family I have left. Sherry took a deep breath. Harrison, this is a gamble, but I have to say it. Look, the end of the world is coming soon. A plague is about to break out, turning humans into monsters. I plan to go to Brunel to prepare for the apocalypse. Sherry decided to lay her cards on the table, to say directly. The room fell silent. Harrison spoke softly. Are you perhaps suggesting that you need more medicine? If you don't like the previous hospital, I can help you find a new one. Or you could rest for a few days and be hospitalized for observation. Sherry shook her head vigorously. No need. It was just a joke. I had a very realistic dream. Harrison fell into deep thought, his eyes behind his glasses filled with suspicion. Do you think I'm talking nonsense again because of the depression after my parents' death? I've taken my medicine and I'm better now. I know you're worried, but I can't be locked up in a hospital to welcome the end of the world. Sherry forced a calm smile. It was just a dream. Don't worry. More importantly, Harrison, will you go to Brunel Village with me? I don't know the first thing about weapons, nor do I have a discerning eye. Harrison's expression softened. If you don't mind, then of course. I will find someone more professional than me to be in charge of the armory. Sherry smiled brightly. No, I want to go with you. Harrison, if it's not you, there'll be no one to cause trouble and solve it. Harrison sighed helplessly. I understand. Let's just treat it as a short excursion. Sherry cheered. Great. Then, she stretched. One thing is settled. Weapons and Harrison are taken care of. Next is 100 million gold. Dot coins and loan. Is this really all right, Miss Sherry? Sherry confirmed, yes. You heard me right. She gave a brilliant smile. If not now, when else could I get this much money? A banker wearing a monocle confirmed. This is a credit loan of 100 million gold coins. Really? Sherry nodded. I said yes, although I'm not sure if I can spend it all. The banker bowed apologetically. My apologies. I'm just surprised that the heiress of the Sinclair family would borrow such a large sum. This is a routine question. May I ask the purpose of this loan? Sherry's eyes twinkled. She suddenly broke into a radiant smile. Funds to prepare for the end of the world. The banker was stunned. What did you say? Do you need help? If you're being blackmailed, you can secretly contact Harrison. Sherry waved her hand. It's not like that. Is it because of the gambling club? I heard several diamond mines were at stake this time. I didn't expect it to be this serious. Mr. Morton, it's not like that. I urgently need this money for overseas business. As you know, the Sinclair family is involved in many projects, aren't we? The gambling club I run, on the surface, is a playground for a reckless heiress and fallen elites. In reality, it generates huge income and intelligence. There's an endless stream of people wanting to join. Morton thought I urgently needed cash to expand the club, but I haven't been there in a long time. I'm even planning a hand over the management rights. Sherry's patience ran out. She questioned coldly. Why are your questions so long? It feels like you're interrogating me. Are you looking down on the Sinclair family? The banker panicked. Of course not. I'll get everything ready right away. Sherry looked at the mountain of cash piled on the table. Her eyes lit up. Cash is the best. Long live the rich. Sherry looked at the case full of cash, feeling like she was exploiting a loophole in the system. Once the virus spreads, the country will collapse and money will become worthless paper. Before that, I must spend this money as quickly as possible to prepare for the end of the world. It's time to hoard survival supplies. Sherry opened a newspaper. What's this? Is this a follow-up report to that previous article? The monster disturbance on Genodem Street. The banker approached. Are you interested in this article? Shall I get it for you? Sherry nodded. Yes, thank you. Sherry sat in the carriage, engrossed in reading the newspaper. On the very night this article was published, the first real monster in the novel appeared. That was the incident where the female lead, Aurora, first encountered a monster. She is Aurora, the adopted daughter of Duke Lancaster. An anonymous letter led her to Genotem Street. The letter said, I will reveal the secret of your birth. There, she encountered an infected person who had been starving for days. So this is how the story goes. Right, that thing will appear here. She stared intently at the newspaper. Alpinus herb. Eating this herb is like getting a vaccine. Even if bitten by a monster once, it can prevent infection. As for why this herb has such a miraculous effect, and why it appeared in the mansion on Genotem Street, no one knows. Because the damn novel was discontinued. I should take it with me when I go to Brunel. In the novel, Aurora didn't know how to use the herb, so she left it there. She deeply regretted it later when she learned of its effects. I have no reason to repeat her mistake, right? Tonight, I'll go to Genotem Street and get that herb. I need the Alpinus herb. But she stroked her chin. The thought of possibly facing a monster makes me nervous. To be honest, I only know the novel through words. I've never seen a monster with my own eyes, so it feels unreal. Since I'm already here, I must act carefully. Sherry peeked out from around the corner, peering deep into the alley. Once bitten by a monster infected with the virus, you will also be infected and turn into a similar monster. Monsters that were once human will acquire different monster forms based on their physical characteristics before infection. For example, someone with strong athletic ability will become exceptionally agile, but they also have weaknesses. Their eyesight is very poor, but their hearing is exceptionally sharp. They're also afraid of fire afraid of anything scorching hot. Just in case, I prepared a hand axe and Molotov cocktails based on my memory. Although carrying these things is breaking my back. If a monster appears, I'll use a Molotov cocktail to drive it away, then split its head with a hand axe. A scream pierced the night sky. Sherry turned around abruptly. Is a monster already outside? This is different from the novel. Wait, no. A figure staggered and bumped into the iron gate, almost falling over. Long, wavy silver hair cascaded down to her waist. Amethyst-like eyes sparkled. It's at 61 Gene Odom Street. Most importantly, that letter. It's the very letter Aurora received. The novel's protagonist, Aurora Lancaster. She was adopted by the Duke of Lancaster's family at the age of 15, having lost her memories. The Duke and her brother, Eden, doted on her, but the mystery of her birth always lingered in her mind. For a drama enthusiast, this is an irresistible temptation. If I were Aurora, I would come even if it meant taking a huge risk. But seriously, why is she just standing outside the gate? Is the gate locked? Sherry peeked from behind the wall. Her clumsy appearance is quite cute. Logically, Aurora should encounter the monster first, and then I can take the opportunity to loot the empty house. But it's unpredictable when Aurora will act. I don't need to linger here. Before anything unexpected happens, I need to get the herb quickly and leave. Sherry made up her mind, her figure flashing as she rushed towards a mansion. Sherry vaulted over the mansion's wall, landing lightly in the courtyard. It's so quiet here, as if no one's around. Of course, I know this is just an illusion. Sherry, wearing a mask and holding a candle, knew the infected person had been lurking in this mansion for several days. I must stay vigilant. Suddenly, a strange sound came from behind. Sherry spun around. What was that? I think I heard something. Sherry let out a long breath. That was scary. I thought it was the monster. Turns out it's just a small box. What did it fall from? This pattern is the Alpinus herb. This is it. Although I don't know how it happened, this is great. It saves me the trouble of looking for it. She hugged the box tightly, an unconcealable smile on her face. Now I just have to leave here quietly. Sherry turned and tiptoed away. A figure appeared at the top of the stairs. Sherry looked at the terrified, strange man. A living person. He stretched out a trembling hand. Help, please, save me. Sherry froze. Why is there someone here? In the original story, there was no one else besides Aurora. The strange man pleaded again. Please, save me. Sherry took a step forward. Wait, I'll save you. First, calm down and answer me. A drop of green liquid landed on the ground. Sherry looked up abruptly. A blood-soaked figure crawled down from the ceiling, exuding an ominous aura. Sherry quickly approached the strange man, questioning him. Did that thing bite you? Those eyes stared fixedly at him. One bloodshot eye with a dilated pupil. Lifeless. The strange man shook his head in terror. No. That monster was tied up in the room. Sherry pressed. Tied up? What about the others? Is there anyone else here? The strange man answered, trembling. No one else. I came here because I couldn't contact my sister and ended up running into the monster. Sherry's eyes sharpened. Then who on earth tied that thing up? Suddenly, a huge black arm swung down violently, aiming straight for Sherry's back. She was sent flying in an instant. The strange man screamed in terror. He scrambled towards the door. Help! Sherry watched his fleeing back. Good. Saves me the trouble. Now, there's nothing holding me back. Sherry gripped the bottle in her hand, determination burning in her eyes. Well then, let's try to get out of here alive. Aurora pulled the iron gate open with force. It's open. She stood outside the main gate and tentatively called out, Excuse me, should I go in and see? Suddenly, a scream pierced the night sky. Get out of the way. Monster, help! Aurora was violently pushed aside by a man, staggering backward. She looked back at the open main gate. What was that just now? Is someone there? Flames instantly engulfed everything. A hand reached out from the fire. Aurora barely managed to lift her head, sweat and blood mixing as they ran down her face. Monster, get away from there. What? Aurora, this is bad. Aurora was in tears. Thank you for saving me. Aurora tightly gripped Sherry's hand. If it weren't for you, I can't imagine what would have happened. You're truly my savior. Sherry was inwardly annoyed. I'm going crazy. Right. Did you see the man who ran out of this house? He ran into that alley just now. That's great. It seems he survived. Although there were many unexpected incidents, I finally got the herb. No one was hurt, and the monster was taken care of. Sherry looked at the crowd gathering at the gate. But too many people here is a big problem. I should leave before the situation gets worse. Well then, I'll be. A bright light pierced the darkness. Who's there? A figure wearing a police cap appeared, pointing a gun at them. Aurora? The officer questioned coldly. What are you doing here so late? Sherry's gaze was drawn to him. Wow, he's so handsome. No, now is not the time for that. Aurora spoke in confusion. Brother? What are you doing here? What? Wait, if he's Aurora's brother. The officer holstered his gun. I received a report, so I came to patrol. This person is Aurora's brother, Eden Duncan Lancaster. He is the strongest person in the Mangsa Alliance and has the virus antibody in his body. He's a key character. I never expected to meet him here, Aurora explained to Eden. This lady saved me from the monster. Eden's gaze fell on Sherry. Monster? Sherry's heart tightened. Oh, this is bad. In such a suspicious situation, if they find out I'm Sherry, it will just be a waste of time being investigated. A police officer approached Eden. Captain Eden, could you come over here for a moment? You go first. You stay here for now. Sherry quietly backed away. It's a pity, but before things get more complicated, please take a look at this. Damn it, what is this? Did that woman catch the monster? She turned and ran. Aurora called out urgently. Benefactor, where are you going? At least tell me your name before you leave. I am sorry, Aurora. I don't want to get involved anymore. Sherry broke into a sprint. Eden's roar came from behind. Stop. She panted heavily. If I stop, will you even listen? I'm seriously about to break down. I had to turn into a situation where I'm being chased by Eden. It would be better for you if you stopped when I told you to. You can't run far anyway. Eden's voice pursued her relentlessly from behind. Thank you for saving my sister, but running away like this only makes you look incredibly suspicious. Sherry gritted her teeth. I'm running because you'll definitely investigate my identity. I shouldn't have been happy about getting away safely. I never thought Eden would leave Aurora to chase after me. Not answering? The more you try to hide, the more it proves you're an important person. I might really have to investigate you. If this keeps up, I'll be caught. Should I just knock him out? A scream was heard. Eden stopped abruptly. That sound just now. Now's my chance. Sherry seized the opportunity and ran. Eden roared. Hey, you. Sherry looked back with a smile. Looks like something happened over there with Aurora. Let's see you chase me now. Eden stopped in his tracks. Damn it. A brooch lay quietly on the ground. Eden bent down to pick it up. Wait. Sherry suddenly realized with a shock. My brooch. Why? Why did it fall there? No. Finally back home. Sherry clutched her head in frustration. Is this some kind of Cinderella story? To drop my brooch at a time like this? Is there any way to get it back from Eden? That's not just any brooch. It was the last gift my late father left for me. Sherry clutched her hair. You idiot, Sherry. Why did it have to fall there of all places? Sherry tried to calm herself. No, it's fine. Eden couldn't possibly know it's mine, but the back of the brooch is engraved with my initials. If he saw it, A knock on the door. The maid's voice came from outside. Miss, Sir Lancaster is calling for you. Sherry peeked out from behind a trunk. Eden, that big shot is looking for me? The maid replied, yes. He said it's a confidential matter and wishes to speak with you directly. Sherry waved her hands in a panic. Just say I'm not here. Say I've gone on a trip. The maid's voice sounded again. Understood. Here is the newspaper. Is your luggage all packed, miss? Sherry stood up from behind the trunk. Yes. Susanna, have you finished packing? Susanna smiled and replied, of course, Mississippi. I'll go inform the head maid and be right with you. Susanna is an absolute angel. She agreed to my sudden proposal to go to Brunel without a moment's hesitation. I told her we might be in Brunel for a long time, but she said she didn't need to stay in the capital either and packed everything up. Sherry took Susanna's hand. This must have been very sudden. Thank you, Susanna. Susanna smiled and said, Miss, I'll follow you wherever you go. All right, I'll wait for you in Brunel. Sherry and Susanna shared a tight hug. Before leaving, I had to turn down Sir Eden's call. She unfolded the newspaper. Right, let's see if there are any reports about that monster. Bizarre commotion on Genotum Street in Benton City. Victim is Miss Lancaster. Sherry's gaze froze. So that person really was Aurora. Just as I expected. The report doesn't mention the monster at all. Someone is deliberately covering up the truth. Sherry's finger traced across the paper. This was a silent declaration. Otherwise, with so many witnesses, it's impossible that not a single line was written about it. In this situation, even if I came forward to reveal the truth without any evidence, thought people would think I'm crazy. Even Harrison told me to go to the hospital. What would others think? Sherry's fingers tapped on the trunk. The only culprit I know of is the late Marquis Casey. Investigate the incident, reveal the truth, and stop this from happening again. I just don't have enough time. Sherry made up her mind. So, for now, I'll go to Brunel. Meanwhile, at the scene of the commotion on Genotum Street, Eden unfolded a newspaper. He looked down at a photo in the paper. Another report about Sherry Sinclair, a spendthrift taking out a loan. It's not unusual, but why would a wealthy heiress like Sinclair need a loan? Unless there's another reason. What are you doing here? Eden answered calmly. Oh, there you are, Inspector. Didn't I tell you to stay out of this case? How can I stay out of it? I was at the scene of the crime. You're so stubborn. He glanced at the newspaper in Eden's hand. Still reading about Sherry Sinclair? Didn't you just call the Sinclair residence? Eden's expression stiffened. What's that supposed to mean? It sounds like you think I'm obsessed with Sherry Sinclair. The inspector clapped Eden on the shoulder. It's best not to get involved with the Sinclairs. You know how troublesome those rich people are. He beamed. Just keep a low profile, and you'll be promoted to superintendent in no time. Eden Dunjan Lancaster, the oddball who gave up his ducal title to become a policeman. The Duke of Lancaster did not approve of his son's choice. But the title doesn't just disappear. His promotion in the police force was a sure thing. Eden turned and walked away. I didn't become a cop for a promotion. If I wanted honor, then I would have inherited the dukedom long ago. More importantly, Inspector, the Benton papers haven't mentioned the monster at all. The inspector explained, orders came from above. Don't cause public panic until the truth is ascertained. Don't blow this up, all right? Eden's gaze sharpened. Above? Eden turned to leave. The inspector called after him. Where are you going? I received a tip. A large shipment of firearms was smuggled in from the kingdom of Brunel. Thanks to you, there's nothing left for me to do here. I might as well go check it out. The inspector cleared his throat. Who's the informant? I'm on my way to find out. He gave a slight wave. Farewell. Sherry recalled the route, starting from the capital, Benton, passing through Westmore, Horndaff, and finally Gentine. The train made 4 stops. Get off at Gentine Station and switch to a carriage. The carriage continued deep into the mountains. Finally, it arrived at a secluded mountain village, Brunel, a place with no cars or trams. Sherry got off, carrying her suitcase. She spread her arms and let out a long breath. Finally here, a brilliant smile bloomed on her face. I'm going to build a shelter here. Brunel. Sherry wiped a tear from the corner of her eye. It was such a long journey, but it was much faster by train. But Sherry looked around. It was better than she had imagined. The village was small, but it had a grocery store, a general store, a clinic, and even a weapons shop. It had everything needed for survival. You could practically turn the whole village into a survival camp. If only I could buy the entire village. But alas, some things can't be bought with money. She looked up into the distance. Is that mansion my new home? An ominous mansion stood on the hill. It looked like a place where monsters would lurk. Sherry's smile froze. The secluded mansion from a novel. The place where Vanilla lived. This must be it. The fortress on the hill stood firm. Seeing it with my own eyes, I understood how he could hold out for so long. There was a river in front of the village and a large mountain behind it. I'm not sure if Vanilla really cursed this mansion, but I bought it directly from Vanilla through an introduction from the village chief. But Sherry stood in the marketplace. Why isn't Vanilla here yet? This is making me anxious. I hope everything is all right. Eden slammed the man to the ground. The man screamed in terror. W, what are you doing? He looked down at the person beneath him, his tone icy. What did you say? Isn't it obvious? In the kingdom of Graydon, it's illegal for civilians to possess firearms. Yet you were caught red-handed dealing with armed smugglers from the kingdom of Brunel. And you still want to deny it? You ran the moment you were spotted, which proves you're guilty. This feeling is familiar. Eden demanded, didn't you just say the smuggled guns were all sent to some remote village? Where exactly? The man collapsed on the ground, pleading in terror. I don't know. I swear, I'm just a delivery boy. Eden grabbed him by the collar. Cut the crap. Look at that passerby over there. Even he knows you're lying. We've confirmed that Harrison Howard is the mastermind behind this operation. The man went limp. His eyes lost focus. Eden's gaze was sharp. So, was the one who bought the weapons Sherry? Why am I so suspicious of Sherry? I told Inspector Marcel it was a tip, but the truth is that I personally saw an illegal arms expert from Brud, Kess, meeting secretly with Harrison Howard. It's obvious Harrison has someone backing him. Eden picked up the phone. A cold female voice came from the receiver. I'm sorry, the young lady is traveling. Even when I try to confirm with Sherry, she completely avoids contact. The sole heiress, Sherry, disappears after taking out 1 billion gold coins. Is this really just a coincidence? The man lay limp on the ground. We only know that Sherry went to Brunel today. Eden looked down at him. Today? Where is Brunel? Not sure. All I know is that it's a remote little village with no train station. A dazzling heiress who lives a life of luxury. Why would she go to such a backwater place? If she really did order a large quantity of firearms, then her reason for leaving is extremely suspicious. Sherry sat on a bench in the sun. Sherry lifted her teacup. The newspaper headline was glaring. Heiress loans 1 billion gold coins in the name of overseas business. What's this about a non-existent overseas business? Sherry Sinclair's absence, an escape or a disappearance. still under investigation. It's not an escape nor a disappearance. They've put me on the front page again with my flamboyant style. Sherry snorted. Let them write whatever they want. When the end of the world comes, they won't have time to write articles like this anyway. Still, Harrison will find out about the loan soon, but the result will just be more nagging. When on earth is Vanilla going to show up? Will I even get to see him today? Sherry's gaze was drawn. Oh, that officer across the way stands out a glance. How lucky. I was just getting bored. His hair shone like golden threads. His nose was straight, his lips crimson. The collar of his shirt fit impeccably against his neck. I couldn't look away. Every detail was stunningly perfect, like a meticulously carved work of art. Sherry's breath caught. Wait, what's he doing here? Sherry's heart pounded. It's a man. Could it be? Her eyes widened. Then, Duncan Lancaster. Eden walked towards her table. His voice was gentle. Pardon the intrusion. He smiled slightly. There are no other seats. May I sit here? What is he doing here? Sherry feigned composure. Yes. No matter how I look around, there are no empty seats. Please have a seat. Sherry took a deep breath. Calm down. Although Sherry didn't know why Eden was here, if he was investigating the Genodem incident, he should have arrested Harrison first. Eden's gaze fell on her. I've been wanting to meet you. I never expected to run into you in a place like this. It seems you know who I am. Sherry was screaming internally. Of course he knows. Eden's voice came through clearly. Sherry Sinclair. You are quite famous, after all. The papers are full of stories about you every day. Sherry's thoughts were in a whirl. Is he testing me? Why doesn't he just ask directly so I can come up with an excuse? She forced a smile. I see. So I'm a little famous. Eden extended his hand. His posture was elegant. My apologies for the late introduction. I am Eden Duncan Lancaster, an investigator with the Benton Police Department. Sherry's mind reeled. Who wouldn't know him? Once he sets his sights on you, he never lets go. No criminal in Benton can escape his grasp. That's the origin of his nickname, the Mad Dog of Benton. And now, that Mad Dog was standing right in front of me. Sherry forced a cheerful expression. Unbelievable. This is so interesting. Eden Dunjan Lancaster. You're the one who's always in the papers, aren't you? Sherry shot to her feet, raising her hand high. It's me. She let out a long breath. That was close. I almost blew my cover. I'm here to hand over the keys. The man introduced himself. I am Vanilla Idol Raskin, the owner of this mansion. He seemed much colder than his name suggested. Sherry put on a business smile. A pleasure to meet you, Miss Raskin. You applied for the house purchase contract, correct? She took the keys. Then from now on, I'm the owner of this mansion. Eden's voice came from behind. A mansion? The Sinclair family? Why would you buy such a rundown house? Sherry immediately turned around and hissed, Shh, be quiet. Do you want everyone to know I'm a Sinclair? Eden asked with a blank face. Is there a problem with that? Sherry feigned curiosity. The famous Mr. Eden, what brings you all the way out here? Eden's smile was perfect compared to your reputation. Miss Sinclair, my presence is hardly worth mentioning. He retorted, and why have you come to this rural place? Sherry blinked. My mother. I'm looking for a vacation villa. So, Mr. Eden, can you explain why you're here? Eden tipped his hat. I was assigned here. Sherry was taken aback. Assigned? She scoffed internally. Like hell, a Lancaster coming to a rural place like this? Something big must be about to happen here. Eden's eyes seemed to see right through her. Yes, it seems something is about to happen here. Sherry laughed dryly. Something is about to happen. Vanilla cleared his throat, interrupting their exchange. Sorry to interrupt your war of words, but who bought the mansion on the hill? Sherry sighed to herself. It's not a huge problem, just a hassle. Vanilla said with a cold expression, don't worry. I only care about the money. I don't care if you're Cherry Sinclair or Mango Sinclair. Sherry was speechless. I see. Vanilla, you really are a slave to capital. Eden's gaze fell on the game slung over Vanilla's back. What is that? Vanilla answered nonchalantly. Oh, this? As you can see, it's fresh. I'm a hunter. The village chief pays well, so I hunted a few at his request. Eden was thoughtful. I see. Sherry recalled the plot of the novel. Vanilla was able to survive alone for half a year, not just because of the mansion's excellent defenses, but because he had the skills to survive on his own. A glint appeared in Sherry's eyes. I want to recruit that man for my shelter. He turned to Sherry. Brunel is a remote, rural place, and the mansion is in such a secluded location. I warned you, Sinclair, since it was your own choice, don't expect a refund later. Sherry nodded firmly. I know. Buying that mansion was entirely my choice. Vanilla turned to leave. I'll be in the village for a while. Come find me if you need anything. Vanilla's tone was devoid of emotion. Of course, it won't be free. No matter how pretty and cute you are, Miss Sinclair, I won't give you a discount. Sherry's smile was sweet. Miss Raskin, is there anything special about this mansion? Like hidden facilities or something? Vanilla fell into thought. Hidden facilities? I'm not sure. Sherry felt a bit confused. Strange. In the novel, Vanilla clearly said this mansion was special. He called it a fortress optimized for survival. But on the blueprints Vanilla gave me, I can't see anything special. Is it just because of its good location and ease of self-sufficiency? But Sherry felt a wave of irritation. Why is he following me? Eden is supposed to be in the capital, meeting his end with Aurora. This is a complete deviation from the plot. The only explanation is that he's already figured out I'm the owner of the brooch. Sherry spun around. Hey, why do you keep following me? She forced herself to stay calm. You can't do anything to me based on suspicion alone. Do you have a search warrant? Eden's gaze went past her toward the distant mansion. That mansion looks very isolated, very dangerous. Of course, that also means you could secretly transport weapons in or hide some secret funds. Sherry blurted out, What are you talking about? If you're so interested, why don't you go see the mansion for yourself? Sherry's heart skipped a beat. Wait, weapons? She recalled her conversation with Harrison. What kind of weapons do you want specifically? In that case, I can even arrange for a teacher to instruct you. Wait, you're not talking about the brooch, but the weapons? Eden's smile was tinged with amusement. What's wrong? Did you suddenly think of a reason why I shouldn't tour the mansion? Sherry's heart pounded. The brooch has no proof. It's easy to deny. But weapons are another matter. If I get caught engaging in illegal activities strictly forbidden by the Empire, things will get complicated. She crossed her arms. Of course. How can a man just enter the house of a woman living alone? That's absurd. Eden sepulk kadmni. I'm not a stranger. I'm a police officer. Sherry retorted loudly. Aren't police officers strangers too? A man is a man. She wailed internally. I can't go to jail before the apocalypse. Eden's thoughts were a mess. Wait, how did the topic get to this? She glared at Eden. Without a search warrant, you're just a stranger. A beast. You beast. Eden temporarily retrioted. Sherry gazed at the mansion before her. This is where I'll be living for the next 2 years. She surveyed it with satisfaction, just as I requested. It's large and very remote. The mansion looked like a ruin, overgrown with weeds. It seemed the house was about to be swallowed whole. Sherry's smile froze. Do I have to clean all this by myself? Can I really do it? No, I can do it. Sherry, you can do this. She clenched her fists, cheering herself on. Let's go, Sherry's happy house. But at that moment, Sherry had no idea that in the distant future, the name Sherry's happy house would appear in history books. If she had known, she would never have called it the happy house. Sherry looked around. The central fountain and the front garden. The well next to the garden and the shed that looked like a warehouse. It'll take at least 2 years to finish. Until then, I need to hold on. I have to turn this place into a self-sufficient environment. She began to plan. The garden is spacious enough, perfect for starting a vegetable patch. I also need to build a defensive wall for the mansion. She held up the blueprints, a brilliant smile on her face. A perfect plan. Let's do it. She suddenly stopped, her gaze falling on the end of the blueprint. What's that? Something was written at the edge of the blueprint. Brunel. Genotim. Brunel is this place. Genotim is a street in the capital. I don't know. I'll ask Vanilla about it later. So the first thing you need to do is, of course, start with my room. First, clean up, then add some furniture. The most important thing in this room is the fireplace. What's this? Sherry's pupils contracted. What do they burn here? Clothes? Could it be human bones? No way. She walked over to the fireplace. She crouched down. What is this? Is it cinder? Sherry pinched the piece of burnt cloth. Why was this in the fireplace? This is unsettling. She forced herself to calm down. Forget it. I'll clean it up later. This thing is a bit disturbing. Sherry, don't be scared. From now on, this is your home. She pulled herself together. Sweeping and mopping, the room was transformed. Sherry collapsed on the floor, completely exhausted. Damn it, this is no work for a human. I'm wiped out after just a few hours. There's not much time. Should I hire people to get it all done at once? It's not like I'd recognize them anyway, right? I'll call Harrison right now. She rushed out of the mansion, mailed the letter, and returned, only to find that all the phones were broken. Sherry slumped over the table, completely defeated. Survival is too hard. How can the phones in the neighboring village be broken too? A small hand offered a bouquet of flowers. Excuse me, pretty lady. A little flower girl stood before the table. Buy some flowers? You look so pretty today, lady. Sherry couldn't help but smile. Oh my, you're so cute. Is that today's paper? The little girl handed over the newspaper, saying happily, Thank you, you, pretty lady. Sherry decided to take a break and read the newspaper. She unfolded the paper. Social circles in a slump due to absence of gossip Queen Sherry. Everyone is waiting for her. It was just the usual flattery. The next article in the paper revealed the Segrave family's secret connection to an ancient artifact. An ancient artifact. Segrave, a legendary family that only exists in fairy tales. They are heroes who protect the world from evil, known as the guardians of humanity. A light shone in Sherry's eyes. If only such a family really existed, they could solve the virus and all our problems. Eden sat across from her, engrossed in a newspaper. Is there something you want me to do for you? Sherry froze. What are you doing here? Eden replied calmly, on official business. I see. Sherry forced a smile. You must be very busy. A waitress brought over a glass of orange juice. The orange juice you ordered. Miss Raskin, what are you doing here? I'm working part-time. Sherry beamed. Keep up the good work. Is there something you wanted to say? You didn't leave a tip. Vanilla and I are on completely different wavelengths. Since we've met, should I ask about that? Wait a minute. Miss Raskin, could you take a look at this? Sherry unfolded a note. Do you know what this is? I found it on the mansion's blueprint. Vanilla leaned in for a closer look. He fell into thought. I know Brunel is the name of the village, and Genotim is a street name in the capital. But what do Fountain and Hague mean? Vanilla shook his head. I'm not sure either. I didn't write this, but the handwriting looks like my father's. I inherited this mansion from him. An inheritance. Sherry was thoughtful. I see. So the original owner of the mansion was his father. He left the mansion to him after he passed away. And on the mansion's blueprint, there's an important message he left behind. Vanilla reasoned. Since it's written on the blueprint, it must be related to the mansion itself. Vanilla looked at the distant mansion. Even if it's related to the mansion, Genotim is still a street name, isn't it? Vanilla continued to guess. But I'm not sure. Maybe it's the location of a mansion under the Raskin family name. I also have a mansion in Genotim. Sherry pressed. Then what about Hague and Fountain? Vanilla shook his head. I don't know what those are. Eden's voice suddenly cut in. Hague Street. It's a street near Seymour Station. Vanilla had a realization. I see. I also inherited a mansion in Seymour. Sherry asked with a smile. Then do you remember the numbers in front of the names? Vanilla tilted his head. I don't really remember. Sherry looked at him. You look like you need a rest. But thank you for the information. By the way, do you know anyone strong nearby who can help with cleaning? Vanilla asked, puzzled. Cleaning? Sherry explained, there's a lot of furniture to throw out, and the mansion is too big for me to handle alone. Vanilla suggested, I know a few non-professional cleaners. Can I introduce you? Sherry immediately agreed. Yes, please. If possible, I'd prefer people who are discreet. I want to avoid any gossip. In that case, Eden was thoughtful. He remained silent. Vanilla went back to work. I can finally breathe a sigh of relief for now. I was a little anxious earlier, but since it's about the Raskin family's mansions, I shouldn't have to worry anymore, right? Did you see this? Because Sherry seems like an elusive person, I wanted to do some research. So I found a newspaper. I discovered an interesting article. Eden's finger tapped on the paper. An interesting article? What did you see? The newspaper headline was prominent. Bitten Times. Sinclair family heiress, Sherry Sinclair, the worst cricket player in history. Sherry was speechless. Where did he get this? So what exactly are you curious about? Eden looked directly at her. You don't play cricket anymore? Since you were an active player, you must still have some skill. Sherry lifted her cup, her tone flat. After reading that article, you should have guessed, right? My skills were terrible. The only reason I got to play was because the club needed a puppet who could bring in sponsorships. I didn't know that at the time. I thought I'd earned it with my own abilities. Looking back now, the club probably just needed the Sinclair name. Many people have approached me like that over the years, so I know the routine very well. Look at that. He probably feels sorry for bringing it up. He has a difficult personality, but he's not a bad person. No wonder they could become friends. Never mind. It's all in the past. She gently dabbed the corner of her eye with a handkerchief. I'm always misunderstood because of my appearance. I probably look like the type to hide guns in a mansion. Sherry stood up. Well, I should get back to my business. Mr. Eden. She turned to leave. Harrison won't fall for it that easily, right? As long as I can survive, that's all that matters. I'll do my best to hold out until the end without getting caught by Eden. But why hasn't Harrison contacted me yet? He couldn't have forgotten because he's too busy with work, could he? The next day, as soon as I heard the phone at Genotim Station was fixed, I rushed over immediately. The station was small and old, but it was neat and pretty. More importantly, does the phone work? Sherry cried tears of joy. She leaned over the phone. Wait. Harrison, Susanna. This is no time to be sentimental. I have to make a call quickly. Sherry quickly dialed the number. The call connected. A familiar voice came through. Sinclair Manor, at your service. Susanna, it's me. Oh my gosh. Miss, are you alright? I've been trying to contact you, but I didn't know how. Susanna's voice was full of worry. Did something happen? Weren't you supposed to come back today? She explained apologetically. I'm very sorry, Mississippi. The minister has fallen ill. I might have to stay one more day. Sherry held the receiver. It's all right. It can't be helped. You must come tomorrow, okay? It looks like I'll have to hold on for another day on my own. Susanna immediately responded. Yes. I've already booked my ticket. I should be there by tomorrow afternoon. Miss, are you okay? Are you feeling unwell anywhere? Have you been eating properly? Of course. How? What's the capital? Nothing unusual, right? Susanna's voice came from the receiver. Of course. It's just that the manor feels very quiet without you. Sherry closed her eyes. No, the manor has always been like that. Susanna hasn't been here long, so she doesn't know. My parents are always busy with business. I'm always busy going out. The Sinclair Manor is often empty, and it will probably be like that in the future too. By the way, what about the others? Susanna's voice sounded troubled, though. He's not here right now. Really? Did Harrison say anything? I sent him a letter, but there's been no response. Really? That's strange. We haven't received your letter. Mississippi, speaking of which, I heard the postman went missing recently. What? The postman went missing? What do you mean? I saw in the newspaper. Recently, postmen have been suddenly disappearing or being found dead. The world is really dangerous these days. Miss, be careful when you go out at night. Thanks for the information, Susanna. Please be careful too and let Harrison know about this. By the way, something is happening in Brunel right now. That incident was likely caused by a monster. I've been hesitating. This world seems to be preparing for its destruction. Preparations. Yes, it doesn't matter if Eden is here or not. I have to survive no matter what, by my own strength, without relying on anyone. Eden sat at his desk. He was flipping through a file. The ghost story of Westmore City. It was the place those two had mentioned before. Around this time last year, strange things were reported in an abandoned house in Westmore. It was said that screams could be heard every night. A handprint was found on a broken window. After the screams, a beast-like howl would always follow. The police were dispatched after receiving reports, but they found no trace of any person or animal in the abandoned house. There were over 10 reports in total. More than 10 residents in the area went missing. But due to the lack of evidence of a crime, the incident eventually became a ghost story. Eden's gaze sharpened. This is very similar to the story I heard before. Aurora said the woman who dropped the brooch was her benefactor. He flipped the brooch over. The initials on the back were a perfect match for Sherry's name. Come to think of it, the masked person's eye color was also similar. Huh, what am I thinking? What kind of person is Sherry? Really? The Sinclair heiress who's on the front page of the newspapers every day. A topic queen who loves lavish parties, spends money like water, and is plagued by scandals. Eccentric, indecisive, and completely incompetent. A troublemaker deemed unworthy of leading the Sinclair family. The kind of person I despise the most. And the other one, although she fled suspiciously, saved my younger brother and possibly Aurora too. They can't be the same person. Sherry isn't the type of person to come to a remote, dangerous place like this. She's also a suspect in an arms smuggling case. Definitely not a righteous person. Come to think of it, what that benefactor needed was perhaps just my Sinclair surname. My image is always easily misunderstood. Eden pinched the brooch, lost in thought. Could I also be? Without looking at her with prejudice? Two maids were whispering. Oh my God, isn't that the abandoned house, miss? Yeah, that's right. But what the hell is that scarecrow? Sherry came striding over, carrying a scarecrow on her shoulder. She held her head high, her expression calm and composed. Eden's fantasy was instantly shattered. I take it back. She really is a weirdo. Sherry stopped and greeted with a smile. Oh, you're all gathered here. Abandoned house, miss. What are you doing carrying that scarecrow? Sherry pointed at the scarecrow. Ah, this? I'm just practicing how to behead someone beautifully. Eden looked horrified. Behead? Whose head is she going to chop off? Seeing everyone's terrified expressions, Sherry burst out laughing. Just kidding. Don't take it seriously. There are too many sparrows in the field. I'm planning to move it inside. I'll be going then. Sherry turned and left, carrying the scarecrow. How is she anything like a delicate flower in a greenhouse? That abandoned house, miss, is really strange, isn't she? A maid chimed in, yeah. She's been moving things into the abandoned house lately. Eden turned to them. Does the abandoned house, miss, come to the village often? The maids exchanged a look. Oh, isn't that the new young police officer? He's even more handsome in person than the rumors say. If you're talking about the abandoned house, miss, there's a lot to say. Yesterday, she cleared out the general store. Today, she emptied out the daily necessities store. A maid lowered her voice. It's almost like she's preparing for war. She bought out everything. Another maid added, she lives in a haunted house, but but we don't know where she gets the money. Eden listened quietly. For Sherry Sinclair, that amount of money was nothing. The people here didn't seem to know her identity. A maid suddenly leaned closer to Eden. Oh my, our young police officer. Could it be you're interested in the useless miss? The useless miss is indeed very beautiful. I've never seen such a gorgeous face in my life. One look at that face, and you can tell she's never suffered. Oh right, Star Candy. She's as pretty as Star Candy, right? Eden's thoughts drifted. Why does everyone call Sherry Star Candy? That face really makes it understandable. After all, our young police officer is also handsome. The two of them would make a good match. Eden came back to his senses, his gloved hand touching his chin. No. The maids teased with a laugh. Hey, it looks like you're stalking the abandoned house, miss. Eden immediately denied it. Absolutely not. What is everyone gathered here for? Jindo, did you just get back? A lot of hunters suddenly gathered over at the haunted house. I want to check it out. Where are you heading now, Eden? A villager chimed in. I guess you're going to see that haunted house, miss, right? Correct answer. After hearing what the officer said, I was just about to go take a look. I'll go on patrol first. The workers were quick and skilled. They were introduced by Vanilla. After cleaning up, I'll have them repair the walls. Although it's expensive, they're tight-lipped, and they'll be leaving the village soon, so there's no security risk. It's killing two birds with one stone. Sherry looked at the high wall with satisfaction. It's a good thing I called them. A worker waved and shouted, miss. He pointed at the height of the wall. Do you want to build the wall even higher? Sherry nodded yes, much higher than it is now, and reinforce it to be thicker and stronger. Also, install metal torches on the outer wall. The worker looked confused. Metal torches on the outer wall? They're afraid of heat. So, using fire is the best way to keep them away from the walls. Sherry confirmed with a smile, yes. The other requests will proceed as usual, right? The worker replied, that material hasn't arrived yet. As soon as it does, I'll install it right away. Don't you worry. I've decided to replace the front door with a huge stone door. Once locked, it's a door that cannot be opened from the outside. Of course, since I have superhuman strength, I'm an exception. The repairs and supplies are all being prepared according to plan. Everything is under her control. Now, all that's left is to plant the alpinus grass. But because of an unexpected incident, my perfect plan was ruined. Sherry slammed the table and stood up. I told you. That's not true. It's just a common herb. Just an herb. Yes. That's what the fertilizer merchant said. He thought the way you were buying fertilizer was suspicious, Mississippi. He asked a lot of questions. He said you didn't look like someone who grows herbs, Mississippi. So, rumors about your suspicious behavior started to spread. It's our principle to investigate all reported cases. That's what they said. Lies. They must be trying to use this as an excuse to investigate thoroughly. Sherry sat down weakly. So what do you want from me? Eden handed her a document. Please cooperate with us. How exactly? An expert will come. You'll meet with them and undergo an assessment. If there are no problems, you'll be free to go. Sherry frowned. What? So many people have come to watch the spectacle. The rumors must have already spread. Whispers came from the crowd. Why was the miss from that fallen family arrested? I heard she was growing something illegal. This is a misunderstanding. How could I possibly grow something like that under these circumstances? A voice spoke up, excuse me. I'm here for the consultation. Sherry's heart tightened. What? They're already here? Who on earth is the expert? She snapped her head up and saw an unexpected figure. Why? Why is he here? Knox Cornell, Devonshire. He showed a slight smile. It was the second male lead from Fated Love and also my favorite character. He is Mrs. Harrison's younger brother, the youngest son of the Devonshire family. Their family invented anesthetics, completely revolutionizing the field of medicine. In the past, substances like cocaine were used as anesthetics, so doctors were also quite knowledgeable about drugs. That's why he came as an expert. In the novel, he saved lives by amputating infected limbs and was also skilled in obstetrics and gynecology, saving countless mothers and babies. But why would someone who was supposed to be in the capital be gathered in this village? Could it be the butterfly effect? Eden asked Knox in a low voice. Are you sure this is really an herb? Did you check it carefully? Yes, I'm sure. Knox's gaze swept over the herb. This is alpinus grass, a common herb for restoring energy. It's fascinating to see it again here. Sherry's train of thought was interrupted. See it again? Has he seen it before? Discussions erupted in the crowd. Isn't that handsome doctor very famous? A woman lowered her voice. Yeah, I heard he's even more famous than that. What's her name? Sinclair woman. Sherry's fist clenched. Nonsense. I'm obviously more famous. Oh, they're looking at us. Oh my God, I've never seen a real noble in my life. That scary police officer is actually being so respectful to someone of higher status. The door was closed. What? Are they getting serious? They heard it too. Eden stepped forward and bowed formally. Miss Sherry, I apologize to you. Sherry covered her mouth. She didn't expect them to apologize so quickly, and from the person who usually can't stand the sight of me. Eden continued, Knox. That is to say, according to the expert's assessment, this is not a drug but an herb. I'm sorry. Sherry lowered her hand. Sigh. I'm often misunderstood, but this time it's really annoying. You know, right? You brought me here without properly and clearly understanding the facts. Eden smiled slightly. Please forgive my rudeness, Miss Sherry. I have been misunderstanding you. A glint flashed in Sherry's eyes. What is this? This is a godsend opportunity. Her lips curved upwards. If you're truly sorry, then do me a favor. Eden was stunned. What? Sherry stood beside him. Are you asking me to help you farm? Not just farming. We're also renovating the house, and we're severely short-staffed. But because Officer Eden suddenly stopped me, all the work has been delayed. This has become a problem. If you don't help, I'll go file a report. I'll have to say you arrested an innocent civilian without evidence. Anyway, will you help? Yes, it's my fault. So I will take responsibility as a police officer. Very good. Let's go quickly. Mr. Worker, don't handsome workers get paid more? Where did that nonsense come from? All right, it seems to have worked. Please consider it. Knox had a smile on his lips. It's been a long time since I've been treated like a nobody. It feels sad. I almost forgot. Knox had been following behind them all along, from the police station all the way here. Sherry was completely engrossed in her conversation with Eden, forgetting him entirely, only thinking about how to make them work. Knox stepped forward and extended his hand to Sherry. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Sherry. Sherry came to her senses. I'm also pleased to meet you, Mr. Devonshire. But while we're here, please call me by my name. Knox gently took her hand. I'm very curious about your story, but it would be rude to ask a lady too many questions. She bowed slightly, understood. Miss Sherry. Knox's gaze deepened. Miss Sherry, there's something I'd like to ask you. May I have a moment of your time? Sherry glanced at Eden. Since it's come to this, I might as well make Knox do some work too. A sly smile appeared on her face. But I have to shut him up first. Sherry turned to face Knox. All right, please follow me. Knox smiled and said, Thank you, Miss Sherry. Let's go quickly. There's still a mountain of work to do. Knox's smile vanished. His eyes instantly turned cold. Sherry continued to give orders. As soon as we arrive, go chop firewood, tidy up the yard, and Eden looked incredulous. What? How much work are you going to assign me? Sherry, the rumored spoiled heiress, the so-called scandal girl. But he didn't believe those rumors, because on that day, in that mansion, what he saw was without a doubt Sherry. A few weeks ago, Knox first met Sherry. At that time, the urban legend of Westmore was escalating. Someone handed him a box. Surgeon, can you take a look at this for me? This thing keeps showing up at crime scenes recently. I suspect it's some kind of drug. Strange things always happen where this plant is found. So I've included it in the investigation. But we don't even know what it is, so it's hard to make progress. Knox examined the plant carefully. First of all, this isn't a drug. It's just a common herb. A smile played on his lips. A common herb involved in a bizarre case. How interesting. It would be a shame to just let it go, wouldn't it? I heard the deceased's last transaction record was at 61 Norton Street. It's worth a look. Knox stood at the street corner. The night shrouded the surroundings. At first glance, there was nothing special. But if I had to point out something suspicious, it would be that there was still a visitor at this hour. That is indeed suspicious. But Knox's pupils contracted. What is that? It looks like someone is running away. A piercing scream cut through the night. Wait, that thing let out an inhuman roar. Knox's eyes widened in horror. What the hell is that thing? A monster. Knox thought for several days. There was only one conclusion. Alpinous grass, bizarre incidents, and the sudden appearance of a monster. There must be a connection between them. Knox looked at the request for investigation assistance, and at Sherry, who had cut down a monster with an axe. This is really interesting. Sherry was lost in thought. Unexpectedly, Knox's smile, unlike Eden's, held a hint of unease. Well, it doesn't matter if they're after me or not. Eden's gaze landed on her. Why is he looking at me like that? He's a good person at heart. It's his duty as a police officer to investigate me. But that guy Knox is different. In any case, I have to be careful around him. The chandelier creaked. Knox looked around. Is this really the mansion where Miss Sherry lives? Sherry responded with a smile. What is it, Mr. Devonshire? Do I not look like someone who would live here? No, I only believe what I see with my own eyes. Sherry looked displeased. You only believe what you see? You haven't even seen me. Knox's gaze sharpened. More importantly, Miss Sherry. He leaned in closer. What are you trying to do here? Why are you growing alpinus grass? Sherry whispered in his ear. If you want to leave here in one piece, you'd better shut up. Don't ask questions. Knox was stunned. What? Sherry's eyes were cold. By the way, I'm not kidding. He's been testing me from the beginning. Maybe I should shut him up for good. Knox chuckled softly. Don't worry. I'm not a talkative person. I won't tell anyone. But in exchange, tell me, why are you really here? What did you do to have to hide in a place like this? I'll keep it a secret from Lancaster for you. A secret just between the two of us. Isn't that better for you? Knox held a finger to his lips. I like secrets. It's more exciting that way. Are you some kind of pervert? Sherry was taken aback. She pulled her hand back. Just kidding. Sherry looked suspicious. What was that? Was that really a joke? You're acting very strange. Knox pressed on. Of course it was a joke. So what's the reason? Tell me quickly. This guy is so persistent. Sherry sighed. It's a hobby. When a person is nothing but money, life gets boring. I wanted something more exciting. The reason was vague, yet surprisingly plausible. Knox couldn't help but chuckle. He covered his mouth and laughed. Miss Sherry, your answers are always so unexpected. Sherry retorted, what's so funny about that? I thought nobles didn't like to show off their wealth. Knox shook his head. I'm different. I value personality over etiquette. Being bored is the worst thing of all. Eden's voice came coldly. What are you two talking about so happily? Right? I almost forgot about this guy. Sherry looked at Knox. This guy is so annoying. Why does everyone have to bother me? Knox whispered, Sherry, we can't continue our conversation with this guy around. Should I get rid of him? Eden glared at Knox. Are you too close? Are you close with Sherry? He then turned to Sherry. You're not close with him either. Why are you talking like you're so familiar? Sherry was at a loss for words. By that logic, I'm not close with Eden either, yet he brought me home. I'm a police officer, and I personally don't like Lancaster. I'd rather get rid of this guy. Eden retorted without backing down. I don't like you either. Sherry was caught in the middle. Right, I almost forgot. These two had an even worse relationship in the original novel. They were classmates at the same school. As the heir of the Knox family, who valued noble dignity, he saw Eden as a thorn in his side. Eden ignored status and dignity, and in Knox's eyes, he was disgusting. Knox always picked fights, and Eden never backed down. It always ended in an argument. Sherry's patience ran out. Enough. How long are you two going to argue? She turned to Eden. Eden, step aside for a moment. I need to talk to Knox alone. But Sherry, she cut him off. Enough. Don't cause a scene in my house, understand? I'll have a proper talk with him and then send him away. You go take a walk outside. It won't be long. Eden hesitated for a moment. Understood. I'll be waiting outside. Sherry breathed a sigh of relief. Sorry you had to see that. Knox smiled. Thank you for your consideration, Mississippi. Let's sit down and talk. The two sat down at the table. Knox got straight to the point. Sherry, how much do you know about alpinus grass? Sherry held her cup. Why do you ask? Do you know something? I don't know much. I just happened to pick it up on the road. Knox smiled without saying a word. Sherry was startled. Was I wrong to send Eden away? I've been suspicious of him, but letting him wander around outside alone. Knox's gaze pierced through her. Eden is a police officer, so it's hard to get close to him. But Knox can, right? You don't have to be so nervous. I may not like Lancaster, but I'm friendly towards you. So what you're saying is, you're being nice to me because it's strange, but you have no reason to be nice to me. Knox looked at her with interest. I want to help you. I don't know what you're trying to do, but it looks like it will be fun to watch. Sherry flatly refused. I don't need help. You're going to need this. Aren't you planning to grow alpinus grass in that field? Sherry was startled. How did you know? That's right. I plan to fertilize and sow the seeds in 2 weeks. Knox said thoughtfully, Sherry, alpinus grass is not a crop. You can't grow it like that. Sherry was confused. Why? Isn't it a type of grass? What's the problem? The method for growing alpinus grass is slightly different from ordinary plants. It's very unique. Sherry pressed. How is it unique? Knox held up a finger. They grow by devouring insects. Sherry's face instantly turned pale. Devouring insects? Knox added, to be precise, their roots absorb nutrients from insects to grow. They especially like centipedes and spiders. Sherry trembled all over. So what you're saying is, Sherry put her hand to her forehead. Those multi-legged bugs are eaten by the herb's roots, and then I eat that herb. She shuddered violently. Ugh, I actually imagine that scene. Knox held back his laughter. Sherry, your face. Sherry glared at him. Why is that guy laughing so much? It's so. So how should I grow it? He continued to explain. Plant the seeds in the selected soil, water them, and periodically buy some dead insects to put in. It's said that they will grow very well. Sherry covered her face with her hands. She collapsed onto the table, completely devastated. I have to do it, but I don't want to. How am I supposed to dig up that field? Knox looked at her. Do you still want to continue? Even if I help you? Sherry lifted her head. How are you going to help me? Knox smiled. If you allow me, I will help you with the planting. I'll help you catch the insects and take care of the planting process. Sherry turned around abruptly. This offer is too tempting to refuse. Knox added more pressure. If you're willing, I can also teach you some basic medical knowledge. Sherry's eyes lit up. This is too good of a deal. Of course, I have no problem with it. You're so eager. She finally asked the question on her mind. By the way, I've been meaning to ask, why are you in such a hurry to help me? There was a hint of slyness in Knox's smile. I just think it will be interesting. I like anything that's interesting. That's not much of a reason, but it seems I have no reason to refuse either. Sherry beamed. All right, then I'll be in your care. I trust in your excellent abilities. She extended her hand. It will definitely be interesting. Leave it to me. I told you I'm very capable. Sherry shouted in her heart. All right, get ready to be fully exploited by me. Everything is going according to plan. At first, I wasn't sure how it would turn out. But where did Eden go? In the sunset, Eden wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. Sherry's heart skipped a beat. Eden stood outside the door. Is it over? You two were chatting so happily just now. The laughter wouldn't stop. Sherry covered her mouth. So, Milo's your type, right? Eden stood at the bottom of the steps, looking up at Sherry on the landing. Are you listening to me? Sherry, are you listening to me? Sherry cleared her throat awkwardly, a slightly forced smile on her face. What are you doing? I was taking a walk outside. I saw you seem to need firewood chopped, so I did it for you in advance. Sherry clasped her hands together, her eyes shining. Oh my, you did such a good job. I was planning to do it today, but I got delayed. What were you and Knox talking about? I could hear the laughter from outside. Sherry explained with a smile. Oh, it was nothing. He offered to help me grow the herbs. Look at how much you've done. He'll start coming over tomorrow. Eden's expression froze for a moment. What? Sherry looked at the neatly split wood. So clean and neat. Does this mean I should come out tomorrow too? She looked up at Eden. Sir Eden. Eden turned his face slightly, his voice calm. Miss Sherry, weren't you the one who made me a laborer? Sherry clasped her hands tightly. Yes, you can leave for today. Can I ask you to chop wood again tomorrow? Eden replied without hesitation. Of course. See you tomorrow. Sunlight filled the courtyard. A gentle breeze rustled the curtains. Sherry stood alone in the vast, empty hall. Really? She leaned on the mop handle and sighed softly. The cleaning is truly endless. This mansion is just too big. Even with help, it's still not done. But it's no wonder. After all, I had them handle the urgent work first, and I even paid a rush fee. It should be finished soon. Sherry turned her head. No matter what, his gaze was calm. What a pleasing sight. Money and manpower should really be used when they are needed. Sherry leaned out a second-floor window. Is it going well? Almost done. Eden looked up at her. Where should I put these? Sherry smiled and instructed, put some inside, leave some outside. Eden crossed his arms. Then I'll bring everything inside. But just how much firewood do you plan to make? At this rate, we could burn down the whole village. Sherry waved her hand. Don't exaggerate. That's too ridiculous. Eden looked at the mountain of firewood, the corner of his mouth twitching. Ha. Sherry suddenly snapped back to reality. Goodness, what am I thinking? There's still so much to do. I can't just stand here chatting. Good luck, Sir Eden. He remained silent, his gaze deep. He seems to want to dig up some secret while helping out here. But what can he do? There's no proof. Before the end comes, I might as well make good use of him. She closed her eyes, enjoying the momentary peace. Isn't that the room where the baby supplies were stored? I clearly cleaned it and closed the door. Sherry gripped the broom tightly and walked quickly toward the ajar door. She pushed it open cautiously. She peeked inside. The room was empty. There was only silence. Sherry turned around. Was it my imagination? A cold gust of wind blew past, and she shivered. What? What was that? She gripped the broom tightly, forcing a stiff smile onto her face. Sunlight shone through the window, illuminating an empty rocking chair. It was rocking gently. Is it the wind? For a moment, I thought the genre of this story had changed. How can this be a romance novel? Anyway, when I was cleaning, I noticed that quite a few people had lived in this mansion, and it seems to have been not too long ago. Although there's dust looking at this chair. Her hand brushed over the armrest of the rocking chair, her fingertips touching a line of engraved words. Sigrave. Come to think of it, I think I've heard of the Sigrave family. Because of their image as guardians, their name is always associated with baby products. Eden's voice came from behind her. Miss Sherry. Sherry turned around. Sir Eden, is the wood chopped? Eden's gaze went past her. Yes, almost. But what is that? Sherry was holding a wooden box. Oh, these are things from a nursery on the second floor. She placed the box on a handcart and gave it a hard push. The cart slowly rolled forward. Eden watched her back, his eyes growing more curious. I'm getting more and more curious about what this mansion is really used for. Sherry turned back. I've already told you. It's my personal. A worker brushed past him. The wooden cabinet fell. Vacation home. Sherry fell forward. Eden cried out in alarm. Miss Sherry. Eden caught Sherry steadily, pulling her into his arms. Sherry's cheek was pressed against his chest. What the hell? Eden held Sherry protectively in his arms. The movers around them were in a panic, holding their heads in their hands, not knowing what to do. Good heavens, that was a close call. Is the material damaged? Wow. His reaction speed is amazing. Eden's eyes were cold, glaring at the two movers. Damn it, what should we do now? I told you to watch where you were going. Eden glared at them angrily. She almost got hurt. You're the ones who should be careful. Carrying something so dangerous. Why are you blaming the victim? What's with this guy? I've never seen him like this. I see. Was he just pretending to be polite in front of me? Thank you. Eden let go of Sherry. As long as no one is hurt. Sherry's cheeks were slightly flushed. Honestly, I really want to recruit you right now. Considering your physique and future, it would be great to have you around. What a shame. Eden turned around. Then I'll go back to chopping wood. Sherry squatted on the ground, watching his broad back as he walked away. She smiled and nodded. Okay. A voice suddenly rang out. Haha, Lancaster, what are you doing? Are you a lumberjack? Knox stood not far away, covering his mouth and laughing. Sherry's smile froze instantly. So annoying. Now I understand why Eden gets irritated. I knew it. I told you not to hang around in front of me. Knox replied with a blank expression. I came at Sherry's request. Why are you being like this? Knox raised his hands in an innocent gesture. Right, Sherry? Sherry puffed out her cheeks. That's right, but did you catch any bugs? Knox fell silent. Sherry put her hands on her hips. Seriously, can we please ask those who aren't doing any work to leave? Knox immediately turned around. As a gentleman, I can't let that happen. I'll go catch bugs right now. This was supposed to be a secret sanctuary. Why does it feel like there's never a peaceful day? Eden's voice came from behind. You should be more careful from now on. Sherry turned her head. Eden picked up his axe. There's construction everywhere. An accident could happen at any time. What's going on? He usually looks like he wants to eat me alive. Suddenly being so friendly feels so strange. Eden stared at her. Why are you so quiet? Has no one ever spoken to you like this before? Sherry tapped her chin with her fingertip. Of course they have. Harrison and Susanna both take good care of me. Speaking of which, I really miss them. I hope they're doing well. Sinclair Manor. Harrison sat at his desk. Did I fall asleep? He rubbed his tired eyes. I think I've been pushing myself a little too hard to handle the task Sherry gave me. Even this letter she just sent, I had to secretly retrieve it before the police investigated the dead postman. Harrison picked up the envelope. Let's see what this troublesome young lady is asking for this time. On the letter was Sherry's note. Harrison, I asked you to prepare weapons. You didn't actually prepare things like guns, did you? I thought she'd be happy, since she was the one who said she had people she wanted to kill. If that's the case, Harrison should have delivered it himself instead of sending someone else. Eden Duncan Lancaster is here. I heard he was assigned to the Brunel police station. The Mad Dog of Benton, Eden Duncan Lancaster. Harrison's gaze darkened. So, he's been investigating me recently. He seems to know about the illegal arms deal and suspects I'm behind it. Harrison clasped his hands, lost in thought. Does he think Sherry is the mastermind behind me, and that's why he went to Brunel? He's investigating my past. I don't care about that, but Sherry's image appeared in his mind. If his target is Sherry, that's a different story. Sherry is someone I must protect. My precious family. I first met Sherry when I was 15 at the Royal Academy. Go and greet them, Harrison. That day, Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair found me. When I had no money to attend the Royal Academy, they were the ones who decided to sponsor you. Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair. Harrison looked at the couple and the little girl, walking towards him step by step. He bowed deeply. Hello, my name is Harrison. Thank you for your sponsorship. I will never forget your kindness. We don't say such things among family. But now you are Sherry's older brother. That was the day I first met Sherry. Little Sherry hid behind her mother, peeking out. Brother, Sherry needs you. Harrison was stunned. Family. That was the first time I had heard that word. Just a casual remark from a child whose parents were busy with their careers. But because of that one sentence, I made a vow. Sherry is my little sister, a family member closer than blood. But that sense of security was fleeting. Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair passed away suddenly in an accident. Sherry was left all alone. Even as she tried to numb her grief with pleasure, I could only stay by her side. Because I am her older brother, I must protect her. I want her to stay away from danger. For me, that's all that matters. I like seeing Sherry full of life, but things have changed recently. Her gaze has become determined, as if she's found a purpose in life. She started making requests she never had before. As her older brother, how could I not listen? Harrison fastened his watch. If she's going to pick up the weapons herself, I must increase security. But has that guy named Hezai arrived yet? Your Highness. An attendant called out anxiously. Your Highness. Your Highness. The attendant raised his voice. I know you're deliberately pretending not to hear. Your Highness. The attendant's call was almost a plea. Theodore finally lowered his newspaper slowly, his cold gaze fixed on the other man. Get to the point, Alderson. I am listening. The attendant immediately straightened up. Ah, yes. It's about the matter you asked me to investigate. He still looks so dazzling. Theodore Great Inn. He is the first prince of the Great Inn Kingdom and the Crown Prince. He is handsome and exceptionally talented. Countless people follow him ardently, including me, because he is the one I have sworn allegiance to. The attendant stood respectfully before the desk, while Prince Theodore leisurely read through documents. Have you found their location? The attendant straightened up abruptly. Ah, yes. Sir Eden and Sir Knox are both in Brunel Village. Prince Theodore put down the documents. Brunel, yes. Sir Eden was transferred to the Brunel police station. Sir Knox also went there on Sir Eden's orders to carry out mission. Prince Theodore was thoughtful. There must be another reason behind this. He raised his eyes, his gaze sharp. Alderson, investigate them further. There must be a hidden reason for their actions. The attendant accepted the order. As you command. Forgive my impertinence, Your Highness, but why are you so interested in them? Sir Knox was born in Ludford County, and his family are close retainers of Prince Lloyd. And Sir Eden is from the Lancaster family. Isn't that right? Didn't you say that the plague incident was suspicious? That a subordinate of the Lancaster family, Duke Casey, was able to resolve it so quickly. Prince Theodore casually flipped through the documents. Oh, that matter. Ed's influence as the second prince is growing. As the crown prince, I need to secure as many allies as possible. The Eden I've met and the Duke of Lancaster that are completely different. He is an upright man who strictly follows his own moral code, although his personality is nothing to praise. The attendant's expression became complicated. But isn't his personality a fatal flaw? After all, he's known as the Mad Dog of Benton. Prince Theodore let out a light laugh. Your expression has already betrayed your thoughts. In any case, find out the exact reason those two went to Brunel. As you command. Prince Theodore picked up his teacup. Those two. It's impossible for them to coexist peacefully in the same village for no reason. Something has happened. The villagers whispered among themselves. Good heavens, that young lady is so strong. The cart's wheels rolled forward. Sherry bathed in the sunlight. The weather is so nice today. Ah, I'm so popular. The crowd's chatter rose and fell. But now someone has stolen my spotlight. She turned around, her gaze fixed on a figure in the distance. He just arrived, and already all the women are flocking around him. It's no wonder. He's a doctor, handsome, and a smooth talker. He's the charming second male lead in the novel, second only to the main male lead, Theodore. He is indeed very handsome, but I can't help but feel. Eden's voice suddenly rang out. Miss Sherry, what's this about? Sherry turned her head. Ah, Sir Eden. She smiled and explained. Can't you tell? These are weapons. I don't have any guns. Living alone, I need something for self-defense. Eden examined the pile of weapons. This quantity seems a bit much for your personal use. Why? Sherry was startled internally. Is he going to ask me why I need so many? She immediately struck a playful pose. I have to go. See you later. Who cares? Eden grabbed her arm. Wait, is there nothing to do at the mansion today? Sherry was pulled back by him. What? Eden looked down at her. Do you need more firewood? Or, Sherry quickly explained, Sir Eden, you already gave me enough firewood for 2 years yesterday. I have plenty now. Then let me help you with other things. Sherry tried to explain. I understand your actions, Sir Eden. Her words were cut off. What are you talking about? May I join your conversation? Knox walked over with a smile. I knew he would come over. Sherry sighed internally. Aren't you supposed to be at work right now? Knox held out a small flower. The clinic closed early because everyone is healthy. Eden was holding a wooden stick at some point. Where did he pick that up? Knox said with a smile. How about you put down the weapon? I'm just talking to this lady. You shouldn't interrupt like this. It's this lady's freedom to talk to whomever she pleases. Sherry looked at the confrontation before her. Here we go again. I should just go pitch my tent. This scene looks familiar. I don't know what you're up to. If you don't get lost, I'll beat you up. Knox sneered. Such a filthy mouth. If it weren't for your uniform, people would think you're a barbarian. Eden roared back. Mind your own business. Go back to Benton. Knox announced smugly. Oh, haven't you heard? Miss Sherry personally invited me. Sherry's sanity finally snapped. She burst out, unable to take it anymore. Listen up, both of you. If you don't quiet down, I'll leave you both behind. Unlike you two, I'm a very busy person. I have a mountain of work to do. Mississippi Sherry's argument came to a screeching halt. She whipped her head around. That voice. Could it be? Susanna, you're finally here, my angel. Quick, save me from this hell. Susanna. Sherry hugged her tightly. She asked with concern, "It must have been hard coming here, right?" Susanna returned her smile. "I'm Euphina. It's just that this place is a bit remote, which surprised me. But since it's the mansion I'll be living in with you, milady, I must get used to it. But, milady, who are these people?" Sherry pointed to the two men carrying luggage. "Workers. We should start unpacking, shouldn't we?" Susanna looked confused. "They don't look like workers." Sherry smiled and explained, "They come and go as they please without an invitation." "Aren't those workers?" Susanna asked tentatively. "Then I'll go inside and unpack." Sherry affectionately linked her arm. "Oh, let's go together. I'll give you a tour of the mansion." Eden looked at Sherry with a troubled expression. "Miss Sherry, what should I do?" Sherry said with a sly smile, feeling guilty. "Sir Eden, you can help repair the wall." She then turned to the other man. "Mr. Knox, you can go tend to the medicinal herbs. I'm going to have fun with Susanna. We're leaving first." The two men drooped their heads. "Understood." The room was bright with sunlight, the furnishings neat and cozy. Susanna looked around in amazement. "Wow." She clasped her hands, looking at Sherry with admiration in her eyes. "Milady, you're truly amazing." Sherry looked blank. What do you mean?" Susanna recalled the dilapidated exterior of the mansion. "To be honest, when I first arrived, I thought we had come to the wrong place." Sherry laughed awkwardly. "I didn't have time to deal with the outside." Susanna's gaze swept over the tidy courtyard. "But the inside is completely different. You even went to the trouble of preparing a room for me. You're so kind." "Milady." Sherry raised her chin proudly. "Ha. Of course. It's your room, after all, Susanna. Of course I had to put my heart into it." Susanna looked at her, moved. "Milady." But her demeanor changed, her eyes turning sly. "However," she pointed to a wooden platform being built in the distance. "What is that? Aren't we going to stop those two gentlemen?" Eden and Knox were wrestling. "They're fighting again. Are those two really the male leads of a romance novel?" Sherry waved her hand dismissively. "Just ignore those workers. That watchtower, I'm having it built because the view here is so good." Susanna's eyes widened in realization. "Oh, I see. I thought you were preparing for war." Sherry laughed out loud. "Huh, what war? This is an era of peace." She's so sharp. Susanna suddenly remembered something. "By the way, milady, Mr. Harrison asked me to tell you to give him a call when you have a moment." Sherry's eyes lit up. "Is that so?" "Since he said so, I'll go talk to him then." She smiled and said to Susanna, "I'm going to the police station. You can unpack and wait for me." Susanna waved goodbye. "Okay, milady. Be careful on your way." Sherry ran off briskly into the distance. Susanna watched her back, but Eden's figure quietly appeared beside her. He kept saying no. A moment earlier, just as Sherry was about to leave, Eden suddenly appeared. "You said you're going to the police station. Let's go together." Eden explained beside her, "Not just anyone can borrow the phone at the police station." She retorted, confused, but back in Benton, they often lent it to me. Sherry suddenly noticed Eden's gaze. "What? Why are you looking at me like that?" Eden said slowly, "Because you're Sherry." "Oh, is that so? I had no idea." Sherry gave a radiant smile. "I'm still Sherry now." Eden turned his face away. "That's true." A police officer walked over, all smiles. "Sir Eden, what can I do for you?" Eden pointed at Sherry. "Chief, this young lady would like to use the station's phone." "Ah, it's the chief." The chief replied with a smile. "Ah, no problem. The villagers often come here to take calls too." She opened her eyes and asked expectantly, "So can I use it?" Eden waved his hand in resignation. "The chief has already given permission. Go ahead and use it." The chief turned to leave. "But according to the rules, it's not allowed." "Miss Sherry." Sherry had already picked up the phone. "It's so hard to make a call here." The call connected. A voice came from the receiver. "This is Harrison Howard." Sherry shouted in the mouthpiece, "Harrison, you told me to call you, didn't you? Susanna has arrived. When are you coming?" Harrison's voice came from the other end of the line. "Miss Sherry, I was delayed handling the matter you mentioned. I'll leave in 4 days." Sherry's voice rose. "4 days?" Harrison chuckled gently. "Please wait a little longer. When I get there, I'll properly inspect the mansion you've been managing on your own." Sherry pouted in dissatisfaction. "Inspect? Am I a child?" "Ha." Harrison's tone became serious. "But, milady, about that 100 million gold credit loan. I'll be asking you about it properly when I arrive." Sherry stiffened. "Properly?" Harrison continued. "And about the person you mentioned, I'm having a hard time dealing with them. They are very dangerous people." Sherry's eyes sharpened. "Ah, you mean the Lancaster family, who can send Eden back to the capital. As expected, they're not easy to deal with." "I expected as much." Sherry said into the phone, "Okay, please take care of yourself too. Harrison, you have to eat well too." "Of course." Goodbye. She hung up the receiver. Now, as long as Harrison arrives safely in Brunel, everything will be over. I feel so much more relieved. Eden's voice came from behind. Is lawyer Howard coming to Brunel? Sherry turned around. Sir Eden, why do you ask? He took a step closer. I'm just curious why he's coming. Can't I ask? Sherry's hand rested on the doorknob. No. She opened the door, turning sideways to face him. Please don't show unnecessary concern for my family. Besides, prying into a lady's private affairs is very rude. She turned and left, leaving Eden alone. I made a mistake again. Family. I hope Aurora is doing well. Eden, you idiot. When did you promise to investigate our benefactor? Why is there still no news? I really want to thank them properly. A maid reported to Aurora, Milady. The young master seems to have been sent to Brunel, so he's been delayed. Aurora shot up from her seat. Brunel? What kind of place is that? The maid explained. It's a small village without even a train station. A small village? My brother is really hard to understand sometimes. A smile played on Aurora's lips. In that case, she closed her eyes, her face full of longing. Then I'll go to Brunel too. Aurora picked up her teacup. Are you saying I'm not allowed to go out? Why? A blonde man holding a teacup said in a steady tone. You know how chaotic things are lately, so don't even think about going out. Just stay in the mansion. Aurora looked at him, astonished. Are you trying to put me, your adult daughter, under curfew? Her tone changed. Then what about my brother? I heard he was assigned to the police station in Brunel. Aurora realized. No wonder I haven't seen him lately. The blonde man spoke slowly. Aurora, do you know why your brother has suddenly become so rebellious? Aurora tilted her head. Father, are you serious? Hasn't my brother always been in a rebellious phase? It's strange for you to suddenly care about your son now. It's not like you at all. The blonde man's eyes were deep. You're half right, but his rebellion should end. He's an adult now. Aurora covered her mouth with her hand. Wow, that's surprising. That you would care so much, Father. Aurora looked straight at him. It's because you have those kinds of feelings for him, isn't it? As long as you stop being so greedy with my brother, Father, that the problem will be solved. Father, your ambition is too great. A hint of mockery flashed in Aurora's eyes. You seem to be showing signs of becoming a villain. Be careful. The blonde man shook his head gently. How did a child turn out like this? His tone was firm. In any case, you are not allowed to go out. Stay at home like a good girl. Aurora smiled sweetly. Okay, I will. She rested her chin on one hand, her smile radiant. How could I possibly sneak off to Brunel without telling Father? 12 days until the end of the world. Sherry sat quietly. After several days of hard work, thought the happy home was all ready. Thanks to it, nicknames like Storm in the Ruins, Girl in the Ruins, Xing Xing Tang Girl, and all sorts of others popped up. But what's this about a mad woman living in the ruins? A male voice sounded. Milady, please concentrate. Sherry was slumped over the table. Damn it, I hate studying. Just kill me. Right now. You were the one knocking on the medical center's door all morning. Knox rested his chin in his hand. You were the one who begged for lessons, Milady. Sherry's eyes were firm. The world is ending in 12 days. I have to at least learn something. Knox crossed his arms. To be honest, I didn't expect you to do so well. Sherry sat on a cushion. I'm just very interested in these things. She smiled brightly. I can't possibly tell him it's because of memories from my past life. Can I? So that's it. Knox looked down, deep in thought. I didn't know Miss Sherry would be interested in this. Besides the Alpinus herb, is there another reason you came here? Seriously, if you think about it, Lancaster might start to suspect you. Sherry's heart tightened. You too. She was a little annoyed. I'm really sick of hearing the word suspicious. A slight smile played on Knox's lips. Actually, I find it quite interesting. Besides, he looked at Sherry. I've never met a woman who didn't fall in love after seeing my face. Is he doing this on purpose? Trying to make me fall for him? She forced a calm laugh. Haha. Knox stood up. All right, no more joking. I'll teach you another first aid method, although you probably won't need it with me here, just in case. What? He's going to teach me? That's great. Sherry was immediately intrigued. Sounds like fun. What do I need to do? Knox gave the instruction. First, grab the dummy's leg. Sherry did as she was told. Okay. She bent down and grabbed the dummy's wooden leg. Like this? A sharp cracking sound was heard. Sherry looked at the broken leg. Does it usually break this easily? Knox looked exasperated. No, this thing is very sturdy. It wouldn't break even if you dropped it on the ground. And it's expensive. Sherry was full of apology. I'll compensate you with a new one. I'm really very sorry. Sorry, friend. May you rest in peace. He turned to look at Sherry. Haha, Sherry, you're really special. So interesting. Sherry put her hands together. Thank you for the compliment. She walked down the street, holding the medical kit. Now I at least know basic first aid. Thank goodness. She saw a man reading today's newspaper. The headline was striking. The annihilation of the Marquis Casey family has begun. This isn't a simple murder case. It's a sign that the virus is about to spread. The virus will soon reach the capital. There isn't much time left to see this peaceful village. I once wondered if I could save everyone, but the reality is there's a limit to saving others. So I decided, before the apocalypse arrives, I must at least protect the people around me. A strange man walked in. "Ah, you're here. You're the owner of the happy home, right? I brought the things the farm wanted yesterday." Sherry took the wooden box. "Yes, that's right." But he looked around. "Where are the goods you brought?" The man scratched his head. "Oh, I left them outside the village. It was too heavy for me to carry alone." Sherry was a bit puzzled. "Did you bring it alone?" The man looked troubled. "No, I hired a porter, but he got injured on the way. Now I have to spend more money. Isn't there anyone who can help me?" Sherry sighed. It's all right. I'll help you." Eden suddenly appeared. "I'll help you." It's Eden again. He's not some kind of summoned beast. The strange man was dumbfounded. Sherry looked impatient. Seeing his face, this reaction is quite normal. Eden began to ask, "But where are you moving?" Sherry and the strange man looked at each other and fell silent. Sherry smiled and pointed into the distance. "Chickens, Mr. Eden." Eden looked blank. What did you say?" Eden and the strange man carried a chicken coop. Sherry walked in front. The villagers whispered, looking at the strange procession. "Eden Chakadith, Miss Sherry, you truly are one of a kind." Sherry, holding a stack of chicken coops, turned back with a puzzled look. "What's wrong with me now? What's the problem this time?" Eden looked at her. "No problem. I just find you very interesting." "What did I do? Why? How come?" Eden continued to ask. "Speaking of which, you're a noble lady, aren't you? What exactly do you plan to do with these chickens?" Sherry spread her arms, a look of bliss on her face. "What do you think? I'm going to raise them. Baked chickens. Doesn't that sound wonderful? It's the latest trend." Eden and the strange man stared at her blankly. The air seemed to freeze. "How I've been found out?" Sherry's heart tightened. "Anyway, since you're here, can you help me put the chickens in the coop?" A man was stuffing a chicken into a wooden coop. Sunlight filled the courtyard. "Let me confirm something first. You're not impersonating Sherry Sinclair, are you? Or are you being forced to pretend to be her?" Sherry's expression froze. "Wow, now, my very existence is being questioned. Can you be reasonable?" Sherry Sinclair raising chickens. "Does that seem reasonable to you?" Sherry retorted indignantly. "Please respect my hobbies. Is it strange for me to raise chickens?" Eden looked helpless. "It's not strange. But how do you explain your strength? I've never heard that Sherry had that much strength." Sherry confidently flexed her arm, showing off her biceps. "That's because I took a lot of supplements as a child. Besides, Mr. Eden, as you know, strength is not exactly a commendable virtue for a lady in high society." Just as Eden was about to speak, "That's right. You've always wanted to be a true, noble lady." A woman's shout interrupted him. "Miss Sherry." Eden turned around. "Susanna? What's wrong?" Susanna, carrying a large bag, ran up to them, panting. "I brought some things that you forgot at home." "But," Susanna leaned close to Sherry's ear, "that gentleman looks like he's harassing you. Are you all right?" Sherry covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes shining with emotion. "Susanna, are you an angel?" "Thank you, Susanna. Let me see what you brought me." Susanna smiled and opened the package. "All right, miss." Sherry reached in. "Let's see." Her expression changed. This is..." A shrill scream pierced the silence. Sherry's pupils contracted sharply. That scream, could it be? The two immediately turned and rushed towards the source of the scream. What happened? A monster. Damn it, what is that thing? Where did it come from? It wasn't supposed to appear now. Sherry's pupils dilated in shock. But now is not the time to think about that. Eden pulled her behind him. "Miss Sherry, before anyone else gets hurt, I have to kill it." Sherry's eyes sharpened. "If I use that thing from the bag, this thing should be as effective as a weapon." She swung the baseball bat at the monster. The monster let out a pained roar. She panted heavily, wiping the blood from her face with the back of her hand. "That was close. I finally took care of the monster." Eden walked up to her, his gaze sharp as he scrutinized her. "Look at his face. If I don't find a good excuse, I'm dead. It's time to start acting." Sherry forced a weak smile. "Is everyone all right? Who would have thought there'd be a bear here?" Eden's pupils suddenly constricted. "Wait, Miss Sherry," he roared. "Behind you." "No, I never thought it would end this way." A gunshot ripped through the air. Sherry turned back in shock. "What?" Vanilla was standing not far away, the muzzle of his gun still smoking. He asked in a deep voice, "Miss Sinclair, are you all right?" Sherry looked at the newcomer. "Vanilla, what are you doing here?" Vanilla put away his gun. "I was out hunting when I saw a bear and followed it here. But is this really a wild bear? If so, it should fetch a good price." Susanna supported Sherry with concern. "Miss, are you all right?" Sherry forced herself to answer, "Yes, I'm Euphine." The man collapsed on the ground, trembling all over. "My God, that was a demon." "Without a doubt, a demon." Sherry watched his reaction, a chill running through her. If that kind of monster is going to take over the world, and you all act like this. The man coughed up another mouthful of blood, his body trembling from the pain of his injuries. Eden's voice held a trace of urgency. If you're not feeling well, should I take you to the clinic? Sherry suddenly grabbed his arm. Wait, we can't go to the clinic. Hold on, don't move. That man, he was bitten. Miss Sherry. Eden's tone was full of confusion. I don't understand your actions. But for now, please let go. Regardless, the patient comes first. I'll call someone to handle him. You go inside first. Sherry's hand gripped Eden's tightly. We don't need to get involved, right? Eden's brow furrowed. What is she talking about? Does she not want to touch the patient? Sherry shouted, because there's nothing we can do to help. Why won't he listen? Don't go. That face. I can't just knock them all out and carry them away. Vanilla stepped forward. All right, I'll take him to the clinic myself. Sherry shouted in a panic. Vanilla, wait. Let me explain first. Vanilla's steps didn't falter in the slightest. Sherry, I really didn't expect this. You shouldn't do this. Are you afraid of being infected by that person? That person is really not right. So he really needs to be taken to a doctor. Susanna covered her mouth with her hands, staring intently at the man on the ground. Wait, just as the miss said, something feels wrong. The man's body began to convulse violently. A horrifying cracking sound came from his bones. His fingers twisted into claws. Sherry watched it all. Damn it, it has come to this after all. The man's body twisted into an inhuman posture. A beast-like roar came from his throat. Vanilla looked at him. Why? Sherry shook off Eden's hand. Calm down. It's okay. The man's body twitched in the darkness. He hasn't fully transformed yet. Sherry's eyes became resolute. She raised the weapon in her hand. If we're going to kill it, now's the time. She swung the weapon down fiercely, smashing it hard against the man's head. Damn it, this thing's head is harder than I thought. I have to end this quickly. Otherwise, a gunshot rang out. Eden raised his gun, aiming at the man. Sherry stood beside the man's remains. She let out a long breath. The man's corpse turned into specks of fluorescent light and was finally consumed by flames. Eden lowered his gun and walked over to Sherry. Miss Sherry, did you know it would turn out like this all along? Sherry answered calmly, No, I didn't know. Vanilla was full of confusion. Didn't you just stop us from going over? You must have known something. Sherry explained, I just felt that something was wrong with that person. Even that bear-like monster seemed to be covered in germs. That's why I was extra careful. I see. He bowed deeply. I apologize for my earlier misunderstanding and anger. Thank you, Miss Sherry. Sherry waved her hand. It's all right. Anyone would have found me strange in that situation. And it wasn't just Vanilla, right? Eden turned to Sherry. As a police officer, I handled it improperly. I'm sorry. Miss Sherry. Sherry waved her hand lightly. It's all right. I was surprised too. I just acted on instinct. But what on earth are those things? The flames burned fiercely, consuming everything. Sherry fell into thought. Yeah, if Susanna hadn't brought that baseball bat, if I hadn't stopped Eden and Vanilla from getting close, one of us might have perished in the flames. We can't let our guard down for a moment. From now on, we must always be vigilant. Before that, I think I've seen something similar. Vanilla's gaze sharpened. Where did you see it? In the incident at 61 Nottingham Street, I saw a similar creature. Eden rested his chin on his hand, lost in thought. There were no casualties. The monster died before leaving the mansion. This isn't the first time. Did the police catch that monster? No. It said that a woman killed the monster by herself. All alone? Yes. She was the owner of this brooch. I couldn't see her face clearly, but thinking back now, she might know something about the current situation. Sherry's heart tightened. Damn it, this guy's quick on the uptake. Vanilla looked closely at the brooch. Yeah, this initial. It's the same as Miss Sinclair's initial, isn't it? Sherry rested her chin on her hand, smiling brightly and innocently. Interesting. I remember reading about an incident where the person who solved it also had the same initial. Vanilla looked suspicious. How strange. Sherry replied nonchalantly, what's so strange? There are people with the same initials everywhere. Vanilla shook his head. No, it's not about the initial. It's the incident at 61 Nottingham Street. It sounds familiar. Haven't you read the papers? Banigeri plaid blankly. No. The recent papers are all full of your scandal. They say the two of you eloped to Brunel for love. Sherry and Eden froze at the same time. What? Sherry walked through the crowd, the surrounding gazes making her feel uneasy. What suddenly happened? Eden and I have a scandal? Who in this small village knows me? Her eyes grew cold. Someone leaked the information. Could it be? Knox stopped her, smiling. Miss Sherry, where are you going? Sherry's gaze locked onto him. Could it be him? Sherry answered briskly. To Jint Station. I'm picking someone up today. Knox asked curiously, You're picking someone up? Sherry's gaze sharpened instantly. Are you really asking me this, Mr. Rutherford Hill? You're not selling my information, are you? Knox chuckled. I'm not that kind of person. If I were selling information, it would be difficult for us to be alone like this right now. Sherry narrowed her eyes suspiciously. Maybe this guy isn't the culprit. The distant train station was bustling with people. Knox smiled. At least the trains are still running normally. What a relief. Sherry asked, puzzled. What do you mean by that? You said the trains are normal? Is something wrong? She frowned, a trace of unease creeping into her heart. Sherry looked confused. What are you talking about? Aren't the trains running normally? Knox turned his face to the side, the sunlight outlining his profile. I heard that the road out of Westmore Station has been blocked, so everyone who took a carriage to the capital had to turn back. The road is blocked? Sherry's heart tightened. Why is it blocked? He shook his head. I don't know the specific reason either. Sherry turned. Let's leave it at that for now. Thank you, Knox. I'm heading back. I feel anxious. There's still 10 days until the end of the world. But why am I so agitated? Her gaze swept over a newspaper. According to Vanilla, the papers only reported on the scandal between me and Eden. There were no articles about the monsters, nor any mention of the roads in Westmore being blocked. Someone is deliberately covering up these events. Westmore. What on earth happened? Sherry sighed wearily. Does Harrison know anything? When he arrives, I have to ask him. So she eagerly awaited Harrison's arrival. The station clock ticked away. The next train was due to arrive at the platform. But even after the last train departed, he never appeared. He clearly said he would come today. Sherry's eyes were filled with worry. I hope nothing happened to him. The streets were bustling with noise. Sherry sat in the carriage. What's so noisy? Never mind. The driver noticed her expression. You look very worried. Shall we go back to the station? And Susanna is still waiting for us. We should go home. Sherry shook her head. No, please take us back to Brunel. It's okay, there's still 10 days. Her heart sank. There are 10 days until the apocalypse. I will soon. That realized just how complacent she had been. She stepped into a pool of blood. A scream tore through the sky. The terrified crowd scattered and fled. Screams rose and fell. Sherry stood frozen on the spot. Yesterday, this was the market in the center of the village, once full of life. However, that day has finally come. Monster! Help! Save me! The screams were endless. Sherry collapsed amidst a pile of bodies. She cursed under her breath, damn it. All of this is a full 10 days earlier than in the novel. Call the police. Someone call the police. It's useless to call the police now. Everything has already begun. Even if I help, the number of infected will increase faster than I can act. At this rate, Brunel Village will soon be overrun by monsters. The road home will be blocked. I must before that. A voice shouted sternly, What are you doing? Get to a safe place. Sherry was startled. Wait, that voice. It really is him. Eden Dunjan Lanjastov. Sherry looked at him. I guess he would help people. I didn't expect it to be true. For the sake of this world, he must survive at all costs. This man, completely unaware of his own importance, is risking his life to save others. It's not that I don't understand him, but now is not the time to stand by and watch. If he dies, it's really too late for the world. She rushed forward abruptly. A dazzling light tore through the darkness. Sherry swung her axe and cut down. Eden. His eyes widened in horror. Cold sweat trickled down his temple. I will never let something like that happen in front of me. Sherry tightened her grip on the axe, green blood dripping from between her fingers. She glanced around coldly. A bunch of weak mortals. Eden asked urgently, Miss Sherry, are you hurt? Sherry's brow furrowed slightly. Is this the time for small talk? She grabbed Eden's wrist. Come with me, Mr. Eden. We have to escape to my house outside the village. You should have noticed. These things are the same as the ones we dealt with before. There's no point in staying here. Eden's expression was grave. I know how bad the situation is. Eden's gaze swept over the blood-stained village. But I can't run. There might still be survivors here. You think I haven't thought of that? We don't have time to argue. She muttered to herself, I hope you can understand. Sherry chopped the back of Eden's neck. He collapsed without a sound. He's definitely going to be angry about this. But there's no other way. I'll figure something out later. Sherry hoisted the unconscious Eden onto her shoulder. First, I must save him. Sherry trudged through the woods, carrying Eden. She panted heavily. Every step was incredibly heavy. I'm sorry. She leaped over the village fence. I'm so sorry, I'm sorry. I couldn't save everyone. Sherry finally reached the mansion. Wait, why is the door open? Sherry sighed lightly. I'll put him down first. This door is heavy. Unless someone deliberately forced it, it's impossible for it to be open. No, stop overthinking. I'm back safely. That's what's most important. Sherry walked to the balcony and looked out into the distance. The entire village was burning. The firelight reddened the sky. Thick smoke billowed like a scene from hell. She stared blankly, her lips slightly parted, but no sound came out. What on earth happened here? Sherry saw that the monsters had already swarmed to the mansion gate. Luckily, I reinforced the walls. At least it won't be so easy for them to get in. But the real problem is, he's trapped here with me. Will he be okay? What if he regains consciousness and tries to kill me? Compared to a town surrounded by monsters, Eden, staying in the happy little house I built for survival is a better choice after all. He must live until a vaccine is developed. Sherry's eyes were firm. I will save this world. Wait. Sherry whipped her head around to look at the open main door. Impossible. Sherry slowly pushed open a door. Please, don't let it be what I think it is. Susanna. A strange noise came from inside the door. Sherry spun around, a chill crawling up her spine. What was that sound? She quietly crouched down, gripping the axe handle tightly, and moved slowly along the wall. A pair of blood-red eyes lit up in the darkness. I'll rush in on the count of 3. 1, 2. A monster suddenly smashed through the wooden planks, breaking out of the door. As I thought, there's a monster in the house. Sherry's pupils contracted. Damn it. When? Did it slip in when the door was open? The monster growled, baring its fangs. The longer this drags on, the worse it gets. I have to use my strength to finish it in one blow. Sherry's eyes narrowed. She swung the axe, the blade slicing through the air and precisely decapitated the monster. Green blood spurted out. Luckily, it was taken care of in one hit this time. Am I already getting used to this? After killing a few of them, Sherry's hand trembled slightly. Is this going to be my life for the next 2 years? Luckily, I have this monstrous strength. Otherwise, no time for that. I have to find Susanna. There are no signs of a struggle here. She must be hiding somewhere safe. Sherry ran quickly up the stairs. Susanna. She searched along the corridor. Susanna, where are you? As far as the eye could see, there was no one. Sherry stopped. Susanna. She looked down at the door the monster had broken through. The place where the monster rushed out from. Could she be hiding in there? Sherry slowly walked towards the broken door. Her heart sank. It's a real mess in here. Sherry poked her head through the door. Susanna, are you in here? She saw the scene inside the room clearly. Her pupils constricted sharply. No. All the food I worked so hard to collect is ruined. Sherry clenched her fists tightly. No, wait. That's not the point right now. Susanna isn't here either. She forced herself to calm down, managing a strained smile. All right, she must be hiding somewhere safe. So I'll clean this up first, so as not to scare her. Sherry crouched down and began to clean up the mess on the floor. It's okay. Even though I lost some food, I still have my garden. As long as I harvest before winter, it'll be fine. She dragged the monster's corpse. Ugh. Sherry's movements suddenly stopped. Wait. She trembled, reaching out to push aside the tangled hair on the monster's corpse. What color was the hair ribbon Susanna wore today? No impossible. Sherry's legs went weak. The world spun around her. Impossible. Susanna. Susanna's smiling face appeared in her mind. Sherry felt cold all over. Impossible. Was the monster I just killed. Her stomach churned. Sherry dry heaved and collapsed to the floor. I haven't known Susanna for long. Half a year at most. But if the world was ending, I wanted to protect her and Harrison no matter what. Tears dripped onto the wooden floor. But I killed her. Sherry fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. I killed her with my own hands. If I hadn't asked Susanna to come to Brunel, would she not have died? It's all my fault. I'm the one who killed her. If I hadn't stopped Eden, hadn't helped him, the villagers, with those innocent lives. The novel said that everyone except the main characters would be eliminated, but maybe there would be survivors. The campfire crackled. Sherry curled up on the bench. I have to survive. That's why I came here. Morning sunlight filled the bed. Sherry breathed lightly in her sleep, sweat dampening her forehead. A warm hand reached out and gently caressed her cheek. Sherry, your father has finally brought back the medicine. Sherry opened her eyes weakly. What medicine? Her father's voice was gentle yet firm. A medicine that will make you stronger. After you take it, and your body is well, go and help a girl named Aurora. When she is in danger, even if you can't help others, you must help her. Always remember that. Birds chirped outside the window. Sherry slowly opened her eyes. Father. Sunlight streamed onto the bed. I think I dreamed of my father. Who did he ask me to protect? Sherry turned her head sharply. Eden was lying on the bed, watching her with a calm gaze. Oh, Sherry began softly. Hello, Mr. Eden. Eden slowly sat up. What's going on? Sherry explained. You fainted, so I brought you back to my place. Fainted? Eden's eyes sharpened. I clearly remember you hitting me on the back of the head. Miss Sherry. As expected, Sherry's heart tightened. He remembered the village had turned into a hell. There are far more monsters than survivors now. I was worried about leaving you there alone. There are dangers, and people in more danger than me. I wanted to save others too, but I can't save everyone. I couldn't even protect Susanna, who was right beside me. Eden's voice was low and sincere. But thank you for risking your life to save me. Sherry shuddered and began to gasp violently. Eden immediately noticed something was wrong. Miss Sherry, are you all right, Miss Sherry? He supported Sherry's faltering body. What's wrong? Take slow, deep breaths. Sherry's breathing gradually calmed, but her gaze drifted to the window. Susanna turned into a monster. With my own hands. Eden interrupted her. Stop, that's enough. He gently rubbed Sherry's back. Breathe slowly. Inhale, exhale. It's okay. Everything will be all right now. Sherry and Eden sat side by side on the edge of the bed. Eden broke the silence. Feeling better? Sherry replied in a low voice. Yes. Thank you. Eden stood up. After assessing the situation, I'll head to the capital as soon as possible. My sister is there. I have to confirm she's safe. Brunel isn't far from the capital, but it's a remote village no one knows about. If the virus has even spread to a place like this, I'm afraid the capital has already completely fallen. Mr. Eden, what we can do is... Eden turned around. Miss Sherry, thank you for saving me, but I firmly believe I could have saved more people. I cherish my own life above all else, while Eden puts others' lives first. We are two completely different kinds of people. A man who fights for the world's survival. If he continues to be this kind, the road ahead will surely be incredibly difficult. Sherry smiled. I understand. You don't have to abandon your sense of responsibility, but I don't find Eden's way of thinking depressing. In this hellish world, we need people like Eden. If one day, Eden sacrifices himself for others, I will stop him at all costs, even if he resents me for it. Eden's voice pulled her back from her thoughts. I want to go outside and check the situation. Miss Sherry, would you like to rest here? Sherry stood up. No, I'll go with you. Eden stared out beyond the wall. Are there no survivors left? Maybe if we search the village. Sherry turned her head. Mr. Eden, I understand how you feel, but going into the village unprepared is suicide. Eden's gaze darkened. I know, but so what? I have to find a way to contact the capital, to confirm the situation there, to confirm if my sister is safe. Sherry lowered her eyes. I understand how you feel. I also need to confirm if Harrison is safe, but it's too dangerous outside now. Let's wait a bit longer. Eden's gaze shifted to her. Understood. I'll listen to you. Miss Sherry. He suddenly paused. What is that? Sherry's gaze went past the railing into the distance. Do you think Mr. Rutherford is safe? Eden was thoughtful. If he's lucky, he might have survived. He's always been very lucky. Sherry's fingertips lightly touched her lower lip, but Noctra relies more on his mind than brute force. It's hard to expect him to survive alone among a horde of monsters. I can't even be sure if he can still survive, just because he's a supporting character. Because this is no longer a novel. This is reality. Eden's voice pulled her back. Mississippi Miss Sherry, are you all right? Sherry came to her senses. Yes, I'm fine. I was just thinking about Mr. Knox. She forced a smile, but Eden's expression darkened. Why are you worried about that man? A rumbling sound came from her stomach. Sherry and Eden looked at each other. Let's eat first. We can think about it later. Sherry's cheeks flushed. Of all the times for my stomach to growl. We need to clean the house first, then prepare a meal. The sound of sweeping was heard. What's that sound? It was Eden. He was sweeping the floor with a broom. I told him to get some rest. After all, he looks like he can't do anything. As expected of the heir to a ducal house. Eden leaned the broom against the wall and took some ingredients from a shelf. He's handling things better than I thought. Eden notiget herstudying. While I was in the police dorms, I did my own cleaning. Don't stare at me like that. Was I being too obvious? Sherry quickly waved her hands. No, it's not that. I was just a little surprised. A slight smile touched Eden's lips. Speaking of surprises, isn't this mansion the most surprising thing of all? He looked around. Don't you agree? The food supply here is enough to last for months. The fortifications at the gate are also surprisingly robust. You can even monitor the outside without leaving the house. It's as if someone prepared for this situation in advance. Sherry turned her back to him. How could that be? I could even say I have a dream once in a while. Eden's expression froze instantly, his gaze sharp as he scrutinized her. He cut Sherry off. That's enough. Let's finish cleaning quickly and eat. Sherry held the broom, her eyes a bit unfocused. Okay, got it. She suddenly remembered something. Oh, right. Mr. Eden, can you cook? Sunlight filled the kitchen. The kitchen was neat and warm. Sherry focused on chopping ingredients, her knife skills practiced, her movements fluid. She poured the chopped ingredients into the pot, stir-frying them skillfully. She lifted a bowl, gently blowing on the food to cool it, and took a small taste. Eden leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching her quietly, a look of surprise in his eyes. Eden picked up a spoon, scooped up some soup, and brought it to his mouth. He froze, his face full of disbelief. The two sat facing each other at the dining table. Eden broke the silence. You can actually cook. Honestly, I can't believe it even seeing it with my own eyes. Sherry replied with a smile. Is it that surprising? Of course. When I was Sherry, I never cooked. This dish, it's just a Korean-style stew I made from the memories of my past life. Eden tasted the food. I must admit, my previous view of Miss Sherry was too narrow. Sherry showed a smug smile. Yeah, I thought so. By the way, Sherry put down her utensils. Eden, you only use honorifics with me, right? I heard it from Mr. Rutherford. Why? Shouldn't you treat me the same as everyone else? Sherry's heart skipped a beat. No. A smirk played on Eden's lips. Weren't you the one who was unhappy about me using honorifics with you back then? There's no need to use them anymore. Sherry fell silent. She held her spoon, a complicated smile on her face. But I'll still use them. Eden closed his eyes, a look of bliss on his face. In a situation like this, I never thought I'd be able to eat such a delicious meal. It's really good. Sherry caressed her cheek. Yeah, to still have an appetite in a situation like this. It's amazing. Eden stood up with his tray. Let's take our time. There are some things I'm curious about. Sherry nodded. Okay. Oh, right. Is there a map here? The two sat cross-legged in front of a map. Sherry pointed to a spot on it. Is there any way to lure the people outside away? They seem to be very sensitive to sound. It would be great if we could use that. Eden was thoughtful. About that, the one in the fortress. How about using the catapult in the fortress? Sherry looked astonished. My God, how did you know there was a catapult? Eden answered calmly. I found it when I was looking around earlier. It also seems like there are traps set up everywhere here. Sherry feigned ignorance. Oh, really? There's that kind of stuff too? Eden's gaze was as sharp as a knife, piercing straight through her, as if to freeze through her disguise. Eden's voice was low. Miss Sherry, in your eyes, am I really that easy to deal with? A drop of cold sweat appeared on Sherry's forehead. Your words have a sting to them. Eden's tone suddenly changed. Never mind. I'll let you off this time. Sherry's smile froze on her face. What does that mean? Saying all that and then pretending to be magnanimous. It's even scarier. Eden leaned back. Is it because I need to repay a debt? Please forgive me. That's just how I talk. But I still want to be a bit nicer to Miss Sherry. I owe you a favor. Most importantly, you saved my life. Sherry turned her head. I could tell from the way you interact with Knox and the others. You were a bit scary back and nodding too. Eden's smile held a hidden meaning. After all, I never forgive sinners. Sherry's smile froze. We'd better not provoke him for no reason. Eden crossed his arms. To get back to the point, how about we aim the catapult at them? Sherry leaned over the map. There are too many monsters. The catapult might not be very useful. And if the sound is too loud, it might attract them here instead. A flash of panic crossed Sherry's eyes. Wait, are you saying the monsters will come toward us? Instead of attacking the monsters with the catapult, it's better to aim at something else to divert their attention. Eden, that smiled. Looks like we're thinking the same thing. Sherry said in a low voice. You mean attack the village with the catapult? Sherry answered affirmatively. That's right. But we can't attack buildings that might have survivors. If the target is too small, the sound won't reach us here. Sherry's gaze searched the map for a suitable target to throw a rock at. Her pupils suddenly constricted. I've got it, right here. Mr. Eden. She stretched out her finger and pointed to a spot on the map. How about here? A few days before the fall of Brunel, in the magnificent ballroom of the capital, Bendon, nobles clinked glasses and whispered amongst themselves. A noble woman fanned her face. Oh my, have you seen the papers? The noble woman rested her chin in her hand, her eyes full of contempt. Sherry Sinclair was photographed on a secret date with the heir of Duke Lancaster. The Lancasters are the nobility of the nobility, while the Sinclair family, in the end, are just commoners. They're simply not a good match. I heard Eden Duncan Lancaster values ability over status, but Sherry Sinclair has no talent whatsoever. She's just a shallow woman with nothing but money. How on earth did she win the heart of the young Lord Lancaster? The rumors flowed like a tide. I can't even go in. Aurora stood outside the ballroom and sighed deeply. This time, the gossip doesn't seem to be about me, but about my brother. A noble woman asked softly, where on earth is Brunel? Another flipped through a newspaper. According to this tabloid, the two of them have set up a home in an abandoned manor in Brunel. Are they playing house? An abandoned manor? Sherry Sinclair, with her personality? This absolutely can't be true. People always mock me like this, an orphan of unknown origin adopted by the Lancaster family. Aurora turned to leave. I better just go home for today. She quickened her pace. I have to get to Brunel as soon as possible. Aurora suddenly turned around. What happened? Why is everyone running? The crowd scattered in terror. A monster appeared at the street corner, its face contorted. It was covered in blood. Aurora covered her mouth, her pupils. Not constricted. Could it be? A scream pierced the night sky. Piercing shrieks rose and fell. Run for your lives. Aurora felt a chill run down her spine. That's the same monster I saw at 61 Notting Street. Exactly the same. Say my brother. Eden stood on the balcony, looking down at the village bathed in the morning light. Sherry stood quietly beside him. She spoke softly, "Mr. Eden, what's wrong?" Eden turned around. Nothing. But he pointed to the binoculars in her hand. "What did you prepare these?" Sherry proudly raised the binoculars. "I bought these to watch operas." Eden's brow furrowed slightly. "There are no theaters here." Sherry pointed into the distance. "There's one in Jinka." He mercilessly debunked her. "There isn't one there either." Sherry scratched her head. "The village next to it?" "Eden Sigit. You really are." He held out his hand. "Never mind. Give them to me." Sherry took the binoculars. He said he'd let it go, and now he's really just letting it go. Eden raised the binoculars. Sherry watched his back. To be honest, Eden doesn't need my help at all. He's the one in the novel who outshines the male lead. His survival and combat abilities are rank number 1. But now the story has deviated too much. If he dies unexpectedly, the world will lose its only vaccine and be completely destroyed. Sherry pointed into the distance. "Mr. Eden, over there. If we aim for that, it should work, right?" A huge statue of an angel stood in the center of the square, its base stained with dried blood. Eden lowered the binoculars. "Yes, considering its material, it will make a huge noise when it collapses." Sherry's expression was grave. "But if the monsters gather in the village, it will be difficult for us to get in and even harder to move around inside." "Yes, the fountain and the police station are far apart, but they are still within the monster's range of activity." His eyes hardened. "It seems there's no need to overthink it. Me being the bait myself is the best option." Sherry spun around abruptly. "No, absolutely not." Eden looked troubled. "But Sherry's fists clenched, her eyes burning with anger. "Don't even think about it. That's not even an option." Eden was taken aback by her intensity. "All right." Sherry made up her mind. "In a world like this, I don't want to turn into a zombie after I die. I will save Eden and develop the vaccine. Then, before I leave, I'll live a quiet life alone." Sherry looked straight at him. "Mr. Eden." She held up a finger, her tone firm. "Don't ever think about sacrificing yourself for a phone call that might not even go through. No matter what situation you're in, don't say you'll give up. I will protect you, Mr. Eden. As long as we are together, my life and Mr. Eden's life are of equal value." Eden's shoulders trembled slightly. He was trying hard to hold back his laughter. Sherry was stunned. Just now, Eden finally couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. He covered his mouth with his hand, his body shaking with laughter. "This is too funny. This is just too funny." He looked up, his eyes twinkling with a strange light. "All right, it seems we have no choice but to use the last resort." Sherry's eyes lit up. "Is there another way?" Eden's smile was a bit mysterious. "Leave it all to fate." Sherry clenched her fists tightly. "What the hell?" Eden looked at her tense expression and chuckled. "Just kidding. Unclench your fists. Relax your expression." Sherry's tense cheeks twitched slightly. "Seriously." Eden leaned down. "Look at this." He unfolded an old map. His finger pointed to a mark. "There's a prison hidden in the basement of this police station." Sherry was incredulous. "A police station this small actually has a prison?" Eden's gaze swept over the map. Old police stations always hide a lot of secrets. "There's also a hidden door in the basement." His fingertip traced a route. "It leads straight to the morgue." Sherry's face instantly turned pale. "The morgue? You gotta be kidding me. A small village having a prison is strange enough, but it even has a morgue?" Sherry's voice trembled. "Did prisoners die there?" A cold smile touched Eden's lips. It hasn't been used in a long time, but this world is full of that kind of scum, even in a small village like this." Sherry felt a chill. Ugh, he looks so scary. Sherry forced herself to remain calm. "What about the morgue?" Eden drew a dotted line on the map. "The morgue connects to the forest behind it. When we leave the village, we can escape through this route." Sherry had a realization. "You mean we have to go through corpses to avoid the monsters?" Eden rolled up the map. "There should only be skeletons left there now." Sherry put a hand to her forehead. "Okay, I get it. So, the plan is still to attack the statue with a catapult, right?" "Yes, but is that really possible? The distance is quite far." Sherry puffed out her chest, rolling up her sleeves to show her muscles. Of course, I'm very strong. There's nothing that can't be solved with strength. Eden couldn't hold it in any longer. He burst out laughing. Is he laughing at me again? He lowered his head and covered his mouth, his shoulders shaking as he tried to suppress his laughter. The roar of a zombie came from downstairs. Sherry nervously peeked out. She lowered her voice. Stop laughing. What if the monsters hear you? He laughed even harder. Stop laughing. I said stop laughing. Sherry couldn't take it anymore and punched him in the back. Eden coughed sharply and lurched forward. Did I hit him too hard? He knelt on the ground, his body trembling from the violent coughing. Eden looked up, his eyes full of laughter. This is crazy. I never thought I'd resort to brute force. What's even more absurd is that it actually makes sense. Why is this bastard still laughing? Shouldn't you be using some wild, brutish adjectives? Not acting like a childish gossip girl. Sherry turned away in a huff. Stop talking nonsense. He looked up at the night sky. But for a more accurate shot, it's best to wait until sunrise. Then let's wait for the sun to rise. Okay, let's do that. Sherry hugged her arms and shivered. The nights are still so cold. If only there was a heater right now. That would be a gift from heaven. Is it because the wood is too old that it won't light? What's wrong? Is the ventilation bad? Eden stood at the door. Miss Sherry, wait a minute. Sherry, turn around. Sir Eden, what is it? A voice echoed in the empty room. Don't go. Sherry shuddered. What was that sound just now? Did you prepare something before going to the village? Sir Eden, did you just say don't go? Eden looked alert. No. Do you think there's someone else here? Sherry looked around. No, I think it was just my imagination. Eden's gaze swept the room. Probably. It doesn't look like there's anywhere to hide here. He turned to Sherry. Even if someone is here, with your great strength, there's nothing to worry about. Didn't you have something to ask me? Eden's gaze fell elsewhere. Miss Sherry, have you ever used an axe? Sherry's eyes flickered. An axe? I just used one recently. She swallowed nervously. Why do you ask? Eden held an axe in his hand, its blade glinting coldly in the dim light. Crap, I forgot to put the axe away. Eden stared at the axe. This unusual strength feels familiar. I thought it was just a coincidence that the first letters of our names were the same. Were you the one who killed the monster in Notting's District 61? Was it you? The woman I met that day. Sherry forced a smile. What do you mean? Damn it, my stuttering is too suspicious. Eden slowly turned around. It makes sense now. Sherry took a nervous step back. What do you mean by that? Eden held up a brooch. Stop playing dumb, Sherry Sinclair. This brooch is yours, isn't it? I had my suspicions from the beginning, but there were too many rumors about you. Besides, the person who saved my sister that day was completely different from how you are now. I couldn't be sure it was the same person, but after spending time with you, I began to see clearly. I saw your true nature. Your eyes, every subtle movement, they were all exactly the same as hers. It was then that I thought, maybe you are her. Sherry took a deep breath. What's coming has come. Eden placed the brooch in her palm. You'd better think carefully before you answer, Miss Sherry. I feel like I've been played by you. Sherry clenched the brooch. Yes, it's mine. If I didn't run, I would have had to reveal my true identity, wouldn't I? I just need to stay calm. I didn't want to get into unnecessary trouble, nor did I want my strength to be known. Eden's eyes were sharp. Is that all? Sherry met his gaze. What else? Do you think there's another reason? Eden took a step closer. Then why did you hide your strength? Sherry lowered her eyes. Because the virtue of a socialite is frailty. A cold smile touched Eden's lips. Does Miss Sinclair really care about the virtues of a socialite? Sherry admitted frankly, yes, I want to become a noble. Why? Does that sound as ridiculous as the heir of Lancaster wanting to be a policeman? Eden's expression was serious. He paused. Then let me ask a different question. Why were you in Notting's District 61 at that time? Was it you? Were you the one who called out to my sister? Sherry sneered inwardly. He also suspects that my next step is to say I caused the monster apocalypse too. She suppressed her irritation, but a brilliant smile bloomed on her face. Eden's questioning followed immediately. You brought this weapon with you, which means you knew monsters would appear. Sherry's gaze didn't waver. Yes, I knew. I knew about that letter, and I knew monsters would appear. Yes, that letter. Sherry tapped her finger on her lips. Because I received a strange letter. The letter said monsters would appear in Notting's District 61, and that people would die. Eden put his hands on his hips. Who would remember such a suspicious letter? Why didn't you report it to the police? Sherry retorted. Do you think they would have believed me? The news of the monster outbreak was everywhere, but did anyone investigate? Then how do you explain the existence of this mansion? After witnessing that terrifying monster, I couldn't stay in the capital any longer. The letter even warned that people bitten by monsters would also turn into monsters. The handwriting on the letter was messy and urgent. I have nothing but money. So even if the letter was fake, I thought I should prepare a shelter just in case. Sherry shrugged. After seeing the change in that farmer, I was convinced. I don't know who sent the letter, but everything in it came true. Eden's smile held a hidden meaning. Oh, is that so? It seems you don't intend to tell the whole truth. Sherry's smile remained. How am I supposed to tell the truth? Harrison didn't believe me at first either. Eden slung the axe over his shoulder. Miss Sherry, I told you, I'm repaying a debt right now. This excuse is terrible, but there are more important things at hand, so I'll let you off for now. Sherry curtsied slightly. Thank you for your mercy. Eden turned towards the door. But that doesn't mean I trust you completely. A little too much. Sherry's smile vanished instantly. This guy is so annoying. I usually don't trust anyone, but this time, I just want to beat him up. The night was deep, and moonlight streamed through the window into the hallway. For safety, we decided to take turns on watch until dawn. Sherry lay in bed, her eyes wide open. Damn it, how am I supposed to sleep peacefully like this? The faint light of dawn lit up the sky. Sherry walked out of her room and saw Eden already leaning against the railing. Sir Eden, he turned around. Ironically, you slept soundly and deeply. Sherry rubbed her eyes. Aren't you tired? I'm sorry. I should have gotten up earlier. Eden looked at her calmly. You didn't come down after my shift ended. I thought something had happened, so I came down to check on you. Your snoring sounded like you were about to leave this world. Sherry's face instantly turned beet red. She covered her mouth, her face full of shame. I snoret? Eden chuckled lightly, just kidding. Actually, you were sleeping so quietly, I thought you were dead. Sherry's body stiffened, trembling all over. She smiled and waved her hand. The sun hasn't fully risen yet. Aren't you going to get some rest? Eden's gaze fell on her. It's fine. I probably can't sleep either. Sherry clasped her hands together, her eyes shining with anticipation. In that case, Sir Eden, can I sleep for you? He fell silent. At a time like this, he should at least say I'll stay with you, right? But I don't want to talk to you. You're really something else. Did anything special happen during that time? No, nothing. More importantly, what's that? Sherry pointed at the bag. This. I was planning to take an empty bag when I go to the village. The last time the kitchen was ransacked, we suffered heavy losses. Right? If we can get more food or necessities, I think it's best to stock up. Eden's gaze fell upon her, a faint smile playing on his lips. Looking at you like this, Sherry, you seem to have excellent judgment. I really don't understand why people think you're an incompetent heiress. Sherry's smile held a hint of mystery. That's probably because that's just for my social life. Eden's voice came from above. If anyone speaks ill of you in the capital in the future, I'll correct them for you. Sherry's gaze sharpened. What if the entire country is in the same situation? What if the world has already ended? Eden's hand suddenly clenched into a fist, trembling from the force. That's impossible. You saw it with your own eyes. How fast the monsters are increasing. The infection rate is 100, so the possibility exists, isn't it? Then, Eden leaned closer to her, a strange light glinting in his eyes. Does this mean you and I are the only humans left in this world? Sherry raised her head, her gaze piercing the void. There must be other survivors, hiding just like us. At the very least, Aurora should still be alive. Eden's expression tensed. Let's pray then. At least we still need that bit of hope, don't we? Even though he's saying such hopeful words, his expression is like that. If the world really has ended, and only the two of us are left, wouldn't that be a little dangerous? Sherry looked confused. It's just the two of us left. What would be dangerous? Eden's gaze deepened. That's precisely the danger. You seem to trust me a lot, Sherry. Eden's profile looked soft in the setting sun, but Sherry felt a chill. Why has he become so twisted? He wasn't like this in the novel. Wait, there's something wrong with his eyes. Could it be because of me? Sherry closed her eyes and revealed a reassuring smile. I trust you. She decided to soothe him first. If he becomes distressed, that I'll end up blaming myself. Eden's face was shrouded in shadow, the corner of his mouth curling into an inscrutable arc. He asked softly, to what extent? Sherry burst out laughing. As long as my fists don't fly at you. Eden's body shook with laughter. He said in a low voice, at first, I was wondering why it had to be you who was left behind with me. But now, I think I'm glad it was you. Eden spread his hands. Don't get sentimental in a crisis. This is a battlefield. Enough. Let's get to work. Eden raised the binoculars to scout. He looked down at the box. I need a stone of a suitable weight. I'll grab one on the way back when we go out later. Eden raised the binoculars. We need to use up everything we've prepared today. He saw Sherry carrying a box of stones and asked, astonished, where did you get this? Sherry smiled and explained this. When we were repairing the wall before, I kept a few extra stones. Let's talk about it after we get back from the village. If we can contact the capital, we might not need them. She stopped in her tracks. I'll go get ready, Eden. Could you please check the statue? Eden lowered his head and acknowledged, understood. Sherry's fingers traced the wooden catapult. I talk big, but what if it fails? The catapult's accuracy isn't high, and its range is short. The one I built relies on tension. But a trace of worry flashed in her eyes. Eden had his back to her. He gazed into the distance and cursed under his breath. Damn it. Sherry noticed something was wrong. Eden, what is it? Eden's voice came from behind the binoculars. It's Rutherford. It seems he barely survived. But the problem is, he's trapped in the middle of the square. Sherry's face changed. What, Rutherford? Wait, let me see. She snatched the binoculars. Sherry raised the binoculars. She saw Rutherford. Why is he in a place like that? He was probably trying to escape the square and got trapped. Sherry's eyes were firm. I'll cover him. Cover? Cover what? Rutherford. We have to open an escape route for him. She lowered her eyelids. The original plan was to destroy the statue in the center of the square to lure the monsters away and enter the village. But now, we have to destroy the building on the right to draw the monsters away. That way, he can escape from the other side. Eden looked down at her. But like you just said, we don't have many stones. Can you guarantee it'll be foolproof? Sherry gripped the catapult's wooden handle. We have to lure the monsters away anyway, so we might as well give it a try. Sherry pointed to a red stall in the distance. Let's hit that with the first shot. How about it? There shouldn't be any survivors nearby. Eden raised the binoculars, a smile playing on his lips. Not bad. I'll count to 3, then fire. 1, 2. Sherry pulled the catapult's rope tight. The wood groaned as if under a heavy burden. Even if it misses, as long as it lands nearby, it'll be fine. Please. 3. Eden's last syllable fell. Sherry released the rope. The huge stone whistled through the sky, flying towards the distance with a white trail. A direct hit. In my past life, I had a special talent. I was especially good at a certain game, using a slingshot to launch an angry yellow bird. Although I wouldn't call myself a gamer, I had an incredible knack for aiming and hitting the target. I hit it. I can't believe it actually worked. Sherry turned around excitedly. Did you see that? Impressive, but it's too early to celebrate. Attracting the nearby monsters is exactly what we wanted, but the sound was louder than expected. Now even the distant monsters are gathering in the square. This will make it harder for Knox to escape. Eden proposed a new plan. This time, aim for the building to the right of the stall. How about it? Sherry nodded in agreement. Okay, I'll try. She pulled the catapult again. 1, 2, 3. The stone flew out again. A direct hit. Sherry was about to cheer. Wow, a perfect shot. Eden's finger gently pressed against her lips. Shoo. Sherry understood instantly. Right, I have to stay quiet. How's Knox doing? The monster horde is swarming in the ruins. Knox is hiding behind a tree. He's looking around, searching for the person who threw the stones. Why isn't he running yet? He seems to have glanced in our direction, and he's starting to run. He's running. Now the real game begins. Sounds good. Time rewinds to 1 hour ago. Not here either. I've been searching for 2 days, trying to find a way out of this town. But the streets are full of unknown monsters. There's no escape. What the hell are these things? The day Sherry Sinclair left Brunel, she said she had business to attend to in Canton. What business could she have? A nightmare began at the carriage rental. Then it quickly devoured the entire town. Murder. Someone's killing and eating people. Help. People bitten by the monsters turned into monsters themselves. They tore at others, fled in all directions, and then hid. It was simply hell on earth. I have to find a way to escape. A loud bang shattered the silence. What was that sound just now? Damn, the noise is attracting more monsters. If this keeps up, another loud bang echoed. The ground trembled. What on earth is happening? Wait, judging from the direction of the sound, it can't be. Did Sherry Sinclair do something? That noise drew the monsters away, opening up a path. Whatever that was, I have to escape as soon as possible. Seriously, what kind of woman is she? Sherry flashed a brilliant smile. Now I need to find Knox. Eden's expression was serious. Yes, but in an area teeming with monsters, finding him won't be easy. If I'd known, I would have just charged in from the start. I wanted to avoid a direct confrontation, but we have no choice. Do you have a good idea for getting into the police station and rescuing the doctor? Eden's gaze shifted to the distance. The clock tower in the southern part of town? That one? Sherry's finger pointed towards the building. Yes, Knox will definitely go there. Let's go. Sherry raised a question. Why? He might get trapped like he was in the square. Eden's tone was certain. It's his habit. When he's in a desperate situation, he first climbs to a high place to assess the situation, then makes a plan. Eden's plan was clear. After rescuing Knox at the clock tower, they would enter the police station to contact the capital, and then return here. Sherry looked up at Eden. What if Knox isn't at the clock tower? A slight curve appeared on Eden's lips. Then we'll have no choice. We can't just search for him all over that monster nest. He's right, but Knox is a doctor. He's as important as Eden. If it really comes to that, I'll go find Knox by myself. Sherry made up her mind. Then let's not waste any more time. All right, let's go. The two walked side by side into the forest path, their figures disappearing into the deep green. Sherry's eyes flickered. So that's how it is. No wonder he's the protagonist of this novel. An arrow from Eden struck a monster, and it fell with a thud, blood splattering. Amazing. There's no need for me to even act. Eden stood with his sword sheathed. Sherry checked the lantern in her hand. We should have prepared more lamp oil. The one we brought is almost out of oil. Eden's gaze went past her. All right, since the village is just ahead, let's be careful. Don't make a sound. One after the other, they walked on the path leading to the village. Sherry suddenly stopped. How about we decide on some simple hand signals? Eden turned to the side. Good point. We won't be able to keep talking once we're in the village. Sherry held up 2 fingers. Look closely. This is the signal to attack. She changed her gesture. This one means retreat back to the mansion. Finally, if there's a problem. Sherry put her hands on her hips. She glared at Eden. Stop laughing. What did I say that was so funny this time? Eden suppressed his laughter and cleared his throat. But I've memorized them all. Being handsome with good swordsmanship isn't everything. Sherry sighed. Sir Eden, more importantly, I think we should go find Mr. Rutherford, even if he's not at the clock tower. Mr. Rutherford is a doctor. He's especially valuable in this situation. Eden's expression turned serious. Miss Sherry, I want to save Rutherford too, but if it's safe outside the village, calling for reinforcements as soon as possible is the best course of action. Sherry's anger flared. It's precisely because it's not safe that we have to do this. Eden looked at her, astonished. Miss Sherry, be careful. She stepped on a monster's corpse. I'm annoyed enough as it is. Don't add fuel to the fire. Sherry's eyes were resolute. Let's split up. Eden flatly refused. No, it's too risky. But at this rate, we're making no progress. We have no choice. How about this, then? Sherry asked curiously, what way? Eden drew a simple map on the ground with a branch. The monsters should be gathered around the collapsed building, so I'll go directly to the police station. Miss Sherry, you go to the clock tower and find Rutherford. Sherry crouched down. Aren't you coming with me? Eden's cheek twitched slightly. I'd rather not see that guy's smug face after he's rescued. Sherry's cheeks puffed out. Fine. All right. Eden dropped his joking expression. I was kidding. It's better if only a few people enter the village. There seem to be fewer monsters near the clock tower. Rescuing Rutherford and then regrouping is the best plan. Sherry mused. That does make sense. But don't push yourself. If you rush in recklessly to save someone like that again, it won't just be your neck that hurts next time. A confident smile appeared on Eden's lips. Don't worry, I don't get hurt that easily. Miss Sherry, if Rutherford isn't there, don't waste time. Retreat immediately. It's not that I don't trust him, but we must end the operation quickly and regroup. Sherry smiled and made a gesture. Got it. See you here in a bit. Seeing him turn and walk towards the clock tower, she thought, you have to come back safely. Sherry looked up at the towering clock tower. Knox had better be there. Was it a person just now? Inside the door was pitch black. An ominous aura washed over her. Sherry swung her weapon, severing a monster's neck. Damn it, I have to get up there quickly. This is so annoying. The surroundings fell silent. Looks like there are no more monsters. Sherry wiped the grime from her face. Just in case, I should still move carefully. She headed up the stairs. Giant gears turned slowly, making clanking sounds. I hope Knox is here. Sherry peeked ahead. At the top of the stairs lay a figure. Knox looked up, his expression stunned. Sherry Sinclair? Sherry demanded sternly. What are you doing here? Great, he's alive. Knox, chewing on a cigar, said, I'm resting. His fingers trembled slightly. I never thought Miss Sinclair would come here. Aren't you supposed to be somewhere safe? I don't know how you got here, but for you to fight to the death to survive, you're truly a remarkable noble. Now you can spend the last moments of your life with me. How unfortunate. A strange smile appeared on his face. What the hell is this guy rambling about? I came to save him, and he's talking about the last moments of life? Sherry suppressed her anger. What nonsense are you talking about? Knox muttered to himself, as a dream before death. This is too realistic. Miss Sherry couldn't possibly come to save me. Sherry put a hand to her forehead. Isn't it? I really came to save you, Rutherford. Why would you think I wouldn't come? You threw a stone just now. Sherry cut him off. Never mind that. Were you bitten? Knox looked blank. What? Sherry took a step closer. Were you bitten by those crazed monsters downstairs? No, I wasn't bitten. I was stabbed by a broken railing while climbing up. That's good. Can you stand? No, my leg is injured. Even if I could get down, I wouldn't be able to avoid those monsters. So just leave me. Without another word, Sherry hoisted Knox on her shoulder. Knox panicked. WH, what are you doing? Wait, Sherry Sinclair. You bastard. Have you been working against me this whole time? Sherry gritted her teeth. Shut up, or do you want me to throw you down? I don't know anymore. Sherry carried Knox downstairs, her steps heavy. What on earth are you? Sherry Sinclair. No, that's not what I'm asking. Sherry panted heavily. Don't talk to me right now, unless you want to be dropped. I'm really struggling. Knox's voice came from behind her. Drop me. Are you saying that to me? Sherry couldn't help but curse out loud. Knox's voice softened. All right, don't curse at me and don't abandon me. Mr. Knox, you've always treated me like a heartless person, saying I didn't come to save you. Because Knox's eyes deepened. Weren't you throwing stones to save yourselves earlier? I saw you throwing stones from the mansion, using the village as bait. Wait, he's misunderstood. Sherry hurriedly explained, listen, Mr. Knox, we need to clear this up. I threw that stone to save you. Now you're just making excuses. Sherry cut him off. You were trapped in the square. I threw a stone in the opposite direction to clear a path for you. Knox was stunned. Oh, so Sherry was still fuming. Now I've really come to save you, and you treat me like a cold-blooded person. Seriously, if I'd known, I wouldn't have saved you. Such a pain. Knox lowered his head. I think I misunderstood Miss Sherry. I'm sorry. Sherry snorted. You're only apologizing because you're afraid I'll get annoyed and drop you, right? I'm not that petty. Knox lowered his eyes. Thank you for saving me, seeing as he's genuinely repentant. That I'll spare him. All right, we should get going. I have to meet someone soon, so... A brilliant smile spread across Sherry's face. Hurry up and get on. Knox's voice held a trace of horror. Are you going to carry me to see Eden like this? Sherry looked unconcerned. Yeah, is there a problem? Knox's face was filled with despair. I'd rather die here than let Lancaster see me in this state. Sherry replied casually, all right, whatever you say. Where's Sir Eden? Once this mess is over, I'll never forgive the culprit, Sherry warned. Hold on tight, unless you wanted to throw you off from here. Sherry's gaze swept over the abandoned village. Bloodstains everywhere. Monsters running rampant. We should have reached the police station long ago. Are we trapped? I really want to see him soon. I can't rest easy until I confirm he's safe. Knox suddenly asked, hey, do you like Lancaster? Sherry immediately denied it. Me? Of course not. Then why are you so desperate to find him? Sherry raised her head. Because I just want to go home. A gunshot shattered the silence. Miss Sherry, I think we should run. Sherry didn't hesitate. I know. Hold on tight. Sherry ran with him on her back. That was definitely a gunshot. But if someone fired a gun here, Eden should know it would attract more monsters. Could it be that he's in danger? Sherry's pupils contracted. A gasp caught in her throat. She saw a monster lunging at Eden, its bloody maw wide open. No, a cold smile played on Eden's lips. He faced the monster without fear. A flash of light, and the monster was instantly cut down. Eden helped up an injured boy, asking with concern, are you all right? The boy looked up gratefully. Thank you, Mr. Eden. Eden looked at Knox on Sherry's back. What is this ridiculous scene now? Knox looked humiliated. Honestly, being bitten to death by a monster would be better than this. The monsters are coming one after another. Maybe we can focus on attacking. Let's talk inside the police station first. Good. It seems everyone is safe. Eden turned and headed inside. I'll go check if the phone still works. So where did our great police force go? Leaving Miss Sherry to wander alone in danger. Sherry turned her back to him. I'm the one who went out to save you. You have no right to complain. Just be grateful to me and shut up. Knox turned to Sherry. Miss Sherry, did you hear that? What kind of noble talks like that? He's practically a thug. Sherry smiled at Knox. Maybe so, but he's useful for survival. Didn't you see the mountain of monsters piled up near the police station? Knox was at a loss for words. Sherry's gaze grew somber. I'm afraid there's no one left to answer. I can only hope my choices have already deviated from the original story, triggering a butterfly effect and reshaping the future. Brunel has fallen into chaos because of the virus. But Sherry lowered her eyes. At least I pray the capital is still safe. Eden put down the phone. The signal gets through, but no one is answering. The surviving officer panted. I told you it was useless. I've already tried dozens of times. Even if the capital is fine, the signal can't reach a mountain village like Brunel. Knox looked at him with concern. Officer, you don't look so good. Should I check you over? You seem to be sweating a lot. Sherry's gaze sharpened. Wait, sweating. The officer closed his eyes in pain. Doctor, I remember now. I was bitten on the wrist earlier. Sherry's heart sank. He was already bitten before we met him. The strange thing is it doesn't hurt at all. Is it numb? Miss Sherry, that's a symptom of mutation. We need to leave quickly. Sherry turned and urged, yes, we should go. Sir Eden, hurry and pack your things. What are you waiting for? Hurry. Eden stood quietly. His gaze was icy. I brought some self-defense tools that could be used as weapons. The officer suddenly fell to his knees, his body trembling violently. Why is this happening? Just as Knox said, this is one of the symptoms after infection. In the original novel, the symptoms of infection vary from person to person. Some people mutate immediately after being bitten. The officer groaned in pain. Others, like Uncle Hans, mutate more slowly. So before the mutation worsens, I have to finish him in one blow. I have to kill him. Sherry called out, trembling, Sir Eden. Eden looked down at her, his voice gentle but firm. I'm here. Listen, Miss Sherry. While I draw his attention, you take Mr. Knox and circle around behind the detective. Use the door behind the stairs to go to the underground prison. Down there, in the corner, there's a door that leads to the corpse disposal area. Sherry urgently grabbed his sleeve. Wait, Sir Eden, you have to come with us. If you're going to be the bait again. Eden cut her off. Of course I'll follow. As soon as you two are out. My body feels strange. You're going to leave me behind, right? He urged urgently. Miss Sherry, go now. Sherry hoisted Knox up. Mr. Knox, hang on. Watch out for his teeth. Don't get bitten. Sherry put Knox down. He gasped weakly. Miss Sherry, thank you for your help. But could you please put me down? I have my social standing and dignity too. Sherry looked at him coldly. If you could manage on your own, you wouldn't be in this situation. If you complain about status and dignity again, I'll throw you into a monster's mouth. So shut up. Knox muttered quietly. Miss Sherry. Of course, I wouldn't easily abandon such a precious doctor. Seeing the second male lead begging like this. That feels a bit. A loud bang. Sherry looked up in alarm. What was that sound? Eden burst through the door. What are you doing? Stop wasting time. Run. Sherry asked with concern. Are you okay? Eden wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Of course. I have no reason not to be. Knox put an arm around Sherry. Miss Sherry, no need to worry about Lancaster. Eden walked down the stairs. What did you say? Knox, you should be glad we didn't leave you behind. Shut your mouth. Knox, still holding on to Sherry, said, dragging along someone who wants to die. Isn't that Miss Sherry? So ungraceful. I am injured, yes. I dragged him by force because he'd rather die than have Eden see him being carried. Really? That's great. I'd rather not die with grace like you. Knox turned to Sherry. Miss Sherry, associating with a person like him will be a bad influence on you. We intellectuals must maintain our decorum. Sherry is watching the show from the side. Yes, fight, that's right. Sir Eden, he's not at the police station, is he? The commotion just now was so loud. Eden's eyes were cold. That sound was from slaying the monster. It exploded. I shouldn't have asked. Knox remained silent. The sound was loud. Monsters from afar might come over. We need to go quickly. Sherry called out to him, but, Sir Eden. Sherry stared at the dark abyss before them. You mean we have to go through here? Eden's voice came, yes. It hasn't been used in a long time. It might be a bit dirty. Think of it as a deep well shaft. The bodies were all pushed down from here. Sherry and Knox's faces stiffened. Knox started rambling. Do you know? I am the direct heir to the Marquis of Rutherford's family, Knox Cornell, a promising elite doctor from Rutherford. I don't even know what's at the end of this passage. If something happens to me, the world will lose a great talent. Sherry chimed in, that's right. I'm also the heiress of the Sinclair family, a superstar of the social scene. If something were to happen to me, that my fans would be heartbroken. Knox immediately agreed. Miss Sherry, you finally hit the nail on the head. The social dignity I mentioned is very important, right? Eden's face emerged from the shadows. Then he gave a cold smile. Then you two can just stay here. Eden crouched at the entrance of the hole. All right, the order of descent will be me, Mr. Knox, and Miss Sherry. We agreed. Sherry and Knox, expressionless, silently accepted the arrangement. Eden placed his hands on the edge of the hole. I'll go down first. You follow quickly. He leaped and disappeared into the darkness. Knox looked at Sherry, their eyes meeting. Knox covered his face with his hands. All right, see you if we survive. Sherry crouched down, peering into the bottomless passage. Looks like the corridor is long. Eden's voice came from below. I'll wait for you at the end, Miss Sherry. Don't rush. Come down slowly. I only hesitated for a moment, and they started rushing me. Sherry took a deep breath. All right, I'm going down. She leaped into the darkness. Her body fell rapidly, feeling like she was on a slide. Wait, at this rate, won't I just crash onto the ground? I'm going to fall. Sherry crashed heavily into Eden's arms. Soft yet firm. What is this? She slowly opened her eyes. Eden was holding her. Are you all right? Sherry's cheeks flushed. Their gazes met, and the air seemed to freeze. Sherry spoke softly. Thank you. I hope we can get to a safe place soon. Knox, with his lips pursed, said, So, can you move away a little? Eden held Sherry, while Knox stood to the side, arms crossed, looking displeased. Hey, Lancaster, can you take us where we need to go? Eden, holding a lamp, led the way. Footsteps echoed in the cave. Knox followed behind. I've been observing. Who are you, really? Sherry turned back, confused. Why are you saying this again? I'm very strong. Knox interrupted her. No, that's not what I mean. I just feel that. Sherry seems to know why the world has become like this. Good luck to you. Always getting yourself into unnecessary trouble. I'm already used to this kind of suspicion. Sherry, turn around. Hey, Mr. Knox. If I knew this would happen, do you think I would still be here? Knox pondered for a moment. That's true. My apologies. It's just that the Miss Sherry you are and the one I've heard about are completely different. I can only say her acting is truly impressive. Sherry's tone changed. Now, Mr. Knox. Your leg must be hurting a lot right now. Your lips are as pale as ice, yet you're still forcing yourself to look calm. After we get back to the happy home, I'll disinfect it for you immediately. Shouldn't you get a tetanus shot? Knox's eyes sharpened. You know about the tetanus vaccine? Sherry replied nonchalantly. I've traveled abroad frequently since I was a child, so I've seen many things. I got the vaccine at the clock tower. I also brought some medical supplies. Sherry covered her face with her hands. Really? Such precious things. Eden watched this scene. Silently. You too. We're here. Climb up. Sherry looked up at the ladder. I'll go up first this time. Knox cautioned from behind her. Be careful. Mississippi, careful. Careful. Eden was silently displeased. Sherry poked her head out of the well opening. It really connects. It's just a short walk from here. Eden extended his hand. So, are we going directly to Sherry's residence? Sherry nodded in agreement. Yes, we have to go. Eden's gaze darkened. Understood. Perhaps because they can't contact the capital, their situation doesn't look good. Based on my observations, this must be a contagious virus. You get infected if you're bitten. The body gradually transforms into their likeness. And it seems the situation didn't start in Brunel Town. I examined that stableman. He was the first person to show strange symptoms after returning from the capital. His condition worsened after that. Knox's face was grave. So, the first infected person was in the capital? This hypothesis might be correct. In the original story, the alchemist and Marquis Casey did conduct some kind of experiment in the capital. I don't know what specific inhumane experiments the alchemist conducted, nor do I know what the purpose was. But Eden's face turned deathly pale. If the source is the capital, then the situation there now might be even worse than in Brunel. He clenched his fists. Knox looked at Eden. Is your sister in the capital? I'm so worried now I can't sleep. Eden turned his face away. Stop worrying about other people's sisters. Think more about your own family. My family? They're doing just fine on their own. Our relationship is more like a business, not as close as the Lancaster family. You think the Lancaster family is any different? I don't know if they're fighting or if they genuinely care about each other. But at least Mr. Eden and Mr. Knox, your parents are still alive, right? Missing means there's still hope they're alive, whereas I've always been alone. So I guess it's a comfort in a way. Personally, I'd rather die as a human than become one of those monsters. Eden was silent. Stop talking nonsense. Eden pulled Knox up. Let's go, or it'll be too late. Sherry watched their backs. I'm not saying I don't understand how Eden feels. Even I. She recalled Susanna Harrison. Please, you have to be safe. Eden supported Knox. He looked at Sherry. Miss Sherry, were you bitten? Sherry, turn around. Me? No, I wasn't. Don't misunderstand. I was just curious if your astonishing strength comes from an infection. Sherry let out a light laugh. My strength has existed for many years. It has nothing to do with that. You didn't know simply because I hid it well. I don't need to explain why I hid it, do I? Now let's go home. Thanks to those two, I was able to use the catapult. Mr. Knox, it would be better if I carried you on my back. Yes, please handle me with care. Treat me like fragile glass. Sherry readily agreed. All right. Sherry carried Knox as the three of them passed through the dark woods. Eden lowered his body, drawing his sword. A few monsters leaped out from the darkness, roaring as they charged at them. Eden's figure was as fast as lightning. A flash of light, and two monsters fell instantly. Sherry watched his back. Her heart stirred. So fast. He took care of two monsters in an instant. If he's really my ally, that would be for the best. Sherry called out softly, Mr. Eden. We need to get Mr. Knox in a bed right away. His body is burning up. Understood. I'll open the door. The heavy iron door creaked. Eden struggled to push the door. Damn it. How is this door installed? Is it that hard to open? It didn't look that complicated to me. Sherry's backpack got stuck in the door. Oh no. Eden anxiously turned and shouted, Miss Sherry, the monsters are catching up. Hurry. Sherry tugged hard. I know. There are plenty of other bags in the mansion anyway. The backpack tore and its contents scattered on the ground. How is Mr. Knox? It seems like once the tension disappeared, he suddenly developed a high fever. What about your bag? I lost it along with the oil lamp, but it's not a big problem. It's just that the box of arborist grass I packed broke. Eden turned around. Miss Sherry, you should rest too. I'll keep watch. Sherry shook her head. Mr. Eden, you should rest too. There's no need to keep watch right now. Eden pushed open a door. Let's just rest for today. We can't get out for now anyway. I need to go to the fields and see how much food is left. Eden's voice sounded in the night. Miss Sherry, about what you and Knox were discussing earlier. If you want to become a noble so badly that you'd even hide your true self, why not just buy a title? Eden leaned closer to Sherry. With the Sinclair family's wealth, buying a noble title would be easy. Sherry's eyes dimmed, memories flooding back. Dad, Mom, why aren't we nobles? I want to be one too. Having a title doesn't mean you're a noble, and the Sinclair family doesn't need something like that. Sherry looked up. Then what about you, Mr. Eden? Why don't you live as the heir to the Duke of Lancaster? You're the noblest of nobles. So many people would do anything for your position. Eden's expression darkened. 5 years ago, I did intend to inherit my father's title. Sherry watched him quietly. Then why didn't you? Eden lowered his eyes. Because I discovered that my father wore a perfect mask. So perfect that even his own son was deceived. He never got his own hands dirty, yet he was involved in countless crimes and illegal dealings. But I couldn't bring him down myself. I became a police officer just to punish people like my father, to atone for my sins. Your effort to atone is enough in itself, Mr. Eden. You've already helped so many people. Those people are all grateful to you. I know that's what he says, but Eden must have thought about one day taking down the Duke of Lancaster himself, because he is a kind and upright person. At this point, what does the past matter? He suddenly opened up to me. This is completely unlike him, but I don't know if a system to punish sinners even exists anymore. Deep down, I want to believe he has let his guard down around me, because in this desperate and terrifying world, no one is more reassuring than him. Did you see that woman from the abandoned mansion take the doctor over there? The lights are on in that abandoned house on the hill. They're actually still alive. A man whispered in the shadows. A repairman who went there once said the house is set up like a war shelter. Everyone, why don't we go and take that fortress for ourselves? Amidst the ruins, a voice pleaded, "Save me. Please, doctor, save me. My daughter is still waiting for me. I hope she's safe. Your daughter will be fine. This is just a dream. Everything will be all right." Knox's eyes shot open, sweat trickling down his cheek. It seems I passed out. He sat up in bed. Where is this? Am I back safely? I hope it was just a terrible nightmare. Knox stood by the window, looking at the apocalyptic scene outside. It's hard to believe the world has ended. He turned, his leather shoes making a soft sound on the floor. Knox looked at the scarecrow in the garden. Listen up. Sherry, holding a parasol, was smiling and talking to the scarecrow. You have the important duty of protecting this garden. I trust you completely, so you must take it seriously. I'm not the type to ask favors of others easily. But Knox leaned against the door, arms crossed. She always finds something to do. What is she up to this time? Lately, I've started to feel that behind her most eccentric behaviors, there seems to be some kind of purpose. The first time I saw Sherry Sinclair was at my sister's wedding. I just dropped by to take a look. A girl with pink hair, exceptionally eye-catching even from a distance. I only remember her carefree laughter. There were many rumors about her back then. I didn't pay much attention. Sherry held up a finger, emphasizing to the scarecrow, especially this spot. You must guard it well. Remember, my friend, this is the heart of the garden. The place where I planted the Arper's grass last time. Knox's thoughts drifted. Why does Miss Sherry go to such lengths to plant these? Is there some secret I don't know about? The only suspicious thing is the place where they were found. You're awake. Eden walked over. Since you're awake, you should be lying in bed, not running around. Made me look for you. He reached out and gently touched Knox's forehead. The fever's gone down. This man is unexpectedly sentimental. Knox asked, how long was I unconscious? Eden withdrew his hand. A full day. I asked because I feel like I was dreaming. Eden's gaze was calm. This isn't a dream. There are monsters everywhere outside. And yet, we are staying in this unusually safe mansion, as if it were prepared in advance. That's right. This is all thanks to Miss Sherry. Knox was thoughtful. I see. But is Miss Sherry all right? Eden answered, she's not injured. Her body is perfectly fine. Knox clarified, I meant mentally. She's still so young. In this situation, it would be stranger if she were completely fine. Eden's gaze sharpened. You're a doctor, aren't you? Go check on Miss Sherry. Confirm if she's really okay. Knox held up his hands. Psychiatry is not my specialty. Eden's tone was firm. Take good care of our landlady, doctor. After all, she saved your life. Knox looked at her sleeping face. All right, I'll keep a closer eye on her. Night fell. The starry sky was brilliant. The main gate made a heavy, thudding sound. What's going on with those monsters? They usually aren't this agitated when there's no prey around. Sherry was on alert, her arms feeling a sudden wave of unease. What are you doing there? She turned around, and saw Eden behind her. I heard a noise and came to see how Mr. Knox was doing. I came for the same reason. He's fine, and as you instructed, I brought him some water. Sherry tilted her head, a hint of mischief in her eyes. It was clean water, right? Eden's eyebrow twitched. What do you take me for? Didn't you just throw an axe at Knox earlier? I wouldn't do that to a patient. Eden's tone changed. More importantly, Miss Sherry, I plan to leave for the capital. He ran a hand through his golden hair, his expression weary. Sherry's smile vanished. Is that so? Just as I expected. I was still hesitating about whether to take him there myself. I've seen with my own eyes that he can survive just fine without me, so I have no reason to stop him. Besides, he has the virus antibody in his system and has fought monsters. There's nothing to worry about. Sherry nodded lightly. Eden crossed his arms, watching her quietly. You said you would protect me. Sherry's gaze froze instantly. What? I did say that, but you're the one who said you're leaving, Mr. Eden. I'm just RESP, acting your decision. Mr. Eden, are you listening? Hey, a stable home. A carefully prepared, sumptuous meal. Sherry closed her eyes, a satisfied smile on her lips. At times like this, maintaining a stable routine is crucial for mental health. What the hell is this? Eden had arranged the seating. He was sitting next to Sherry. Is it because I didn't stop him from leaving? So he's sulking? I never expected him to have this kind of personality. Knox raised his glass. I thought I'd never eat food like this again. It's all thanks to Miss Sherry that I can enjoy all this. People are iron, food is steel, especially at a time like this. Eating well and sleeping well is important. Knox looked at her thoughtfully. By the way, Miss Sherry, you're quite skilled at even setting the table. Sherry rested her chin on her hand, her eyes hesitant. MHM, in my family, these things are usually done by the servants. He's as sharp as ever. Knox's thoughts drifted elsewhere. That's a situation possibly worse than an unsecured loan in the Sinclair family. Sherry clenched her fist. I take back what I said about him being sharp. I retract that statement. It's completely different from what you're thinking. Let's eat first. Knox nodded. All right. Eden was washing dishes in the kitchen. The water pressure is too weak. Knox walked in with a tray. Where's Miss Sherry? Eden didn't turn around. She said she didn't want to wash dishes, so I'll let her go out for some fresh air. How is Miss Sherry? Is she okay? Knox stacked the plates. Contrary to our worries, she's fine. From my perspective, if her spirit was going to break, it would have broken long ago. Through the window, Sherry could be seen sitting alone outside. I think Miss Sherry's spirit is stronger than we imagine. Eden breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Knox's tone changed, but her physical condition is more worrying. Sherry sighed wearily. Why am I so busy? Sherry's daily survival log. Clean the mansion. Clean the chimney. Plant the rest of the crops from last time. Half the day is gone just like that. Doing chores during the apocalypse. This is too much. Eden and Knox stood before her. What were we even doing all this for? Preparing for a comfortable life. Eden and Knox looked at each other. Seeking a comfortable life at a time like this? Sherry turned to Eden. By the way, Mr. Eden, can you still get out? The monsters are still frantically ramming the main gate. Are they still ramming the gate? Knox mused. Perhaps they smelled the scent of people and gathered here. Sherry refuted his guess. Unlikely. Because of the sturdy stone gate and walls, they shouldn't be able to tell if we're inside. I really can't figure out what's attracting them. When their numbers decrease, I'll find a way out. Until then, can I rely on this mansion? Sherry looked at Eden. Of course. She gave a brilliant smile. As long as Mr. Eden is safe, I'll be at ease. Sherry turned to Knox. Mr. Knox, are you going with him too? Personally, I'd rather stay. But if you don't want me to stay, I can also go with Mr. Eden. Eden suddenly pointed at Knox. Hey, Knox, who said you could follow me? I'm not looking for a companion. Sherry interrupted with a laugh. Oh my, isn't Mr. Knox a doctor? We warmly welcome professionals. If you could stay at the happy home, I would be very grateful. Knox's cheeks flushed. Miss Sherry, are you giving me permission to stay? Oh, why am I so happy? Sherry suggested cheerfully, of course. After Mr. Eden leaves, how about you move into the room he was using? Once he's gone, it'll just be the two of us. For safety's sake, I think that would be better. Knox's smile froze on his face. What, just the two of us? Sherry explained with a smile. Isn't this better? It'll be easier to find each other in an emergency. Knox mused. Is there anything wrong with that? It's not like I pose a danger to Miss Sherry anyway. Eden rushed over. Wait a minute. Why change rooms? That room is mine. He reached out a hand. Miss Sherry, if you give it away so easily, my feelings might get hurt. Then don't leave. Eden clutched his chest. I'm so heartbroken. We've been through so much. We haven't known each other that long, have we? Survived like this for 2 years. Everything was going strangely smoothly. Night fell. A group of survivors gathered in a dark corner. That's why I said, even if there's a risk, we should ask the mistress of the mansion for help. Isn't she the famous heiress of the Sinclair family? A blue-haired girl with a lollipop in her mouth looked on with contempt. How pathetic. They used to talk bad about her nonstop, and now they want to ask her for help, pretending they've always been on good terms. A burly man's eyes were fanatical. That's why I've been saying, if you want to live, you have to take that fortress. The girl sat up high, so noisy. If you want to go so badly, then go by yourself instead of riling everyone up. That insolent brat. Adults are talking. What's she butting in for? This is why I hate old geezers. A silver-haired man stepped in to stop them. That's enough. What are you doing to a child? The burly man struggled free. Let go of me. You think I'm doing this for myself? How much longer do we have to cower in fear like this? A woman said worriedly, but forcibly taking the mansion when it clearly has an owner. Wouldn't it be better to just ask for help? What if she refuses? Exactly. She looks young. There are many of us. Wouldn't it be faster to just take it by force? What kind of twisted logic is this? The village's supplies are probably all there too. She's hoarded everything. They say it as if she stole it. She bought it all fair and square. Just like Aunt Emma said, why can't we just honestly ask for help? I can't stand being with these old geezers anymore. Let's go to mansion. Sherry put down her binoculars. She let out a long sigh. You should have arrived by now. I hope nothing happened. No, Harrison will definitely come. I made a special request to him. Harrison always put me first. At least, that's how it was before he married Knox's sister, Isabella. So, was I neglected after the wedding? Did I feel disappointed? Not at all. Sherry closed her eyes. I miss him. I have no reason to dislike my beautiful, kind, and perfect sister-in-law. After all, back then, I had no idea that Harrison's wife was the reincarnated sister of the novel's second male lead. Looking back now, my connection with Knox is deeper than I thought. A voice came from below. So you're here. Sherry turned her head. Oh my, what a coincidence. I was just thinking about you, Mr. Knox. You were thinking of me? Why? Sherry sat on the steps. Actually, I was thinking about Isabella. Knox's smile vanished instantly, his face darkening. He changes his expression so fast. It seems the rumors were true. His relationship with his family isn't good. He seemed to have said before that his family was just a business relationship. Sherry asked tentatively, you didn't even attend the wedding. Did you not want your sister to get married? Wait, Knox, this isn't some kind of soap opera plot, is it? Knox held out his hand. Miss Sherry, I can read every thought on your face right now. It's not what you think. So please retract that terrifying look in your eyes. That's not the reason. Isabella is still my family. We're related by blood, but we're not biological siblings. What? What does that mean? Not biological siblings. I'm their only biological child, and the current Marquis and Marchioness of Rutherford thought they murdered my biological parents. Then they stole the Marquis's title. In other words, that my birth father was poisoned by his own younger brother, the man I now call my father. What the hell? This plot is too much of soap opera. More importantly, is this something I should be hearing? And just like that, the curtain rose on Knox's morning drama. When his real father was poisoned, Knox was only 3 years old. The Marquis and Marchioness adopted him and raised him to adulthood. They gave him everything except love. It wasn't until he was around 15 that he learned the truth from a distant relative and understood everything. But surprisingly, Knox felt nothing inside. I have no memory of my biological parents. I have no motivation for revenge. I never lacked for anything while growing up, so there's no resentment to speak of. I was never loved, so naturally, I don't feel anger for not receiving it. Knox's life has been so rough. So that's why you never care about your family? Knox smiled. Yes, I hold no resentment towards Bella, nor towards my 2 older brothers. Don't pity me. Sherry leaned against the railing. I don't. Knox stood up. All right, let's go down. You should get some rest too, Miss Sherry. He reached out to help Sherry. Her eyes were tightly shut, her breathing rapid. Miss Sherry? Miss Sherry, are you all right? Sherry's body suddenly collapsed. Perhaps Knox's story had triggered a memory. I dreamed of that day at the social gathering. Because I wasn't a noble, I was ignored by everyone. Why don't we just buy a title? I want to be a real noble, Sherry cried, grabbing her mother's sleeve. But her mother just looked at her calmly. Sherry, even if you buy a title, a real noble, why aren't you and father nobles? Sherry cried out. I wish I had been born into a noble family too. I didn't know my words would hurt them so deeply. I had unintentionally pierced my parents' hearts. Mother hugged me. I'm sorry, darling. But please remember one thing. To me, you are the noblest and most beautiful daughter in the world. That was a dream of the day my parents met with their accident. From that day on, I no longer desired any title. I'm sorry. Don't leave me. Don't go. Don't abandon me. I don't want to be a noble anymore. Please come back. I'm still young. I need my mom and dad. I don't need a title. I am Sherry, a person who can shake the nobility even without a title. Sherry struggled in her dream, a tear slipping from the corner of her eye. She reached out her hand as if to grab something. So please don't leave me. A warm hand grasped hers, pulling her back from the nightmare. Eden sat by the bed, wiping the tears from her face. Sherry opened her eyes. What is this situation? I remember listening to Knox's dramatic life story this morning. That story. Why is Eden sleeping by my bed? He looks so handsome when he's asleep. And him. Knox is also sitting in a chair, resting with his eyes closed. It's like he's visiting a sick person. He looks like someone who just stepped out of a painting. I don't know. This situation is a bit. Sherry couldn't help but laugh out loud. Eden was startled awake. He reached out to touch Sherry's forehead. Your fever has gone down. Sherry asked weakly, how long have I been like this? Lie still. You were unconscious for a day and a half. Miss Sherry, you fainted from overexertion. You need to rest well. Eden's voice came from the side. That's right. Miss Sherry, don't do anything today, just rest well. You scared me when you suddenly collapsed. Wait, did I gain 2 mothers while I was asleep? Eden's tone held a hint of reproach. You really never take care of yourself. Sherry responded meekly. All right, I'll rest. I will. A sudden loud noise shattered the peace. Spare me. Please open the door. I know you're in there. Help me. Thank you for saving me. The girl looked at them in terror. This is what happened. Time rewinds a little. I'll go take a look. Help. Eden looked down. A child was on the ground, and a monster was about to attack them. Eden shouted up to the floor above, Miss Sherry, there's a child downstairs. Sherry's eyes turned cold. A child. Then I really can't ignore this. Mr. Eden, just give me the signal. I'll go out immediately. All right. 1, 2, 3. The girl charged forward with a knife, stabbing at the monster. Sherry descended from the sky, swinging an axe at the monster's chest. Get inside, quick. Eden also shouted, hurry. And just like that, they saved the child. The child sat on the ground, looking up at them. Thank you so much for saving me. She cupped her chin with both hands, her eyes sparkling. Excuse me, can I stay here? Sherry looked at her. This child is too young. We can't just send her away. Eden turned to Sherry. Miss Sherry, I think we should interrogate her first and carefully check her body to confirm she hasn't been bitten. Hey, handsome over there. I'm allergic to cops. Could you take a step back? Eden was furious. Do you have a long criminal record or something? What do you mean you're allergic to cops? Knox looked at Sherry. This time, I agree with Sherry's opinion. But first, we have to check her condition. Let's just listen to these two for now. Sherry thought, I'll tie you up first. If nothing changes after a while, I'll release you immediately. Okay, big sister. The child was brought back into the house. Who are you? Sherry asked. The child smiled. Just call me Amy. How did you all get here? I was on the 2nd floor of the inn when I saw a big sister. You saw this doctor. Amy continued. I also saw the lights turn on in that abandoned house. Then, the townspeople started talking about taking over this mansion. I was so shocked, I just left. Sherry crossed her arms, her eyes displeased. The townspeople want to take over this place? Why? Where else is safe besides here? They said you've hoarded supplies. They want them too. Sherry's face darkened. Eden turned to her. So when are these terrorists coming? Amy lowered her head. I don't know. I left before they made a decision. They didn't even notice a child was missing. It shows how chaotic the situation is. Eden revealed a twisted smile. Besides, do they really think Miss Sherry will hand over her things obediently? Even if they all come here to die, they'll still lose. Sherry looked at him. Are you serious? Does he think I'm some kind of superhero? Sherry was fuming. Knox smiled. Miss Sherry, what do you plan to do? Sherry remained silent, lost in thought. My goal, of course, is to live quietly. But I can't just take this lying down. I didn't fight tooth and nail just to hand this mansion over to someone else. We saw how much blood and sweat you put in. And tears, Knox added. That's right. You don't look like the heiress of the Sherry family. More like a country warrior. I heard you're famous in the capital. Big sister, just how rich are you? Miss Sherry could buy 100 abandoned mansions like this with just her allowance. Knox gestured with his hands. Amy imagined Sherry's shopping spree. Is that number for real? Of course. After all, she's the candy big sister with the most secrets. She grabbed Sherry's hand. Please take me with you. I can even be your footstool. Eden and Knox coughed dryly on the side. Sherry looked disgusted. I don't need a footstool. Amy immediately changed her tune. Then I'll be your hand warmer. I don't need that either. I only have one path to take. Eden gazed out the window, sunlight dappling his golden hair. So, were the townspeople coming? Amy recalled the townspeople's conversation. Aunt Sarah Uncle Victor. They're all dead. About 50 people, men and women. Excellent. A cold smile played on Sherry's lips. First, I need to let them know I'm not to be trifled with, and they're country folk who have never even held a sword. This will be easier. If I'm really going to worry, I'm more worried about Prince Lloyd and Prince Theodore. Compared to them, this is a piece of cake. Then, Sherry's eyes sharpened. Let's draw up a simple plan. Amy knelt before Sherry. Big sister, can I join you too? Eden scrutinizit her. Have you ever used a weapon? Amy looked up. I've only ever used tools for gathering herbs. Eden pressed. Your movements are unusual. Where did you learn them? Amy replied, I didn't learn them anywhere. I just picked it up naturally while gathering herbs in the Pelennam Mountains. Sherry hesitated internally. Even so, relying on a child's help is a bit. Amy eagerly interrupted her. Wait, it's really useful. Look at this. She opened her palm. A dried herb lay quietly within. Sherry's gaze froze. It looks like alpinus grass. Amy explained, I saw the monsters sniffing at it on the door earlier. I took a closer look and found something stuck on the door. I just grabbed it when I came in. Last time, my bag got caught in the door and broke. The herb bottle inside shattered. If what Amy is saying is true, then the monsters react to this herb. Is that herb important to you? Isn't that some kind of drug people talk about? Alpirus grass is hard to handle, but it grows quickly. Amy put her hands together. Leave it to me. I can grow them well. Knox smiled and said, growing herbs is my specialty. Great. Now we have 2 herb experts. Well, an herbalist is better than a layman. Amy looked at Sherry curiously. By the way, big sister, I've been meaning to ask you something. Which of those 2 is your lover? Eden and Knox froze simultaneously. Amy quickly waved her hands. I just don't want to make you angry for no reason. Sherry let out a light laugh. I don't have a lover, but if you know any decent men, feel free to introduce them to me anytime. It's hard enough just to stay alive right now. Who has the energy for romance? A townsperson worried. Will Amy be all right? That child. Another townsperson interrupted him. What child? She's much stronger than us. Just like everyone says, that abandoned mansion might be safer than here. Instead of attacking it by force, we should just ask that lady to take us in. But first, we have to get there alive. All right, let's get ready to go. The morning sun shone on the mansion. Amy looked shocked. Be big sister. Sherry stood before a pile of weapons, her long hair tied up high, her eyes determined. This should be enough, right? Eden looked at the weapons. Cool. For just 8 townspeople. This is like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Seeing you prepare so thoroughly, I'm truly impressed, Miss Sherry. Sherry's brow furrowed. It's not enough. We need to stock up on more daily necessities and emergency rations. We also need to plant more crops to ensure we have enough food. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. They didn't even think to ask for help, only wanting to rob us. Knox crossed his arms. Humans always become narrow-minded and selfish in a crisis. Eden sneered, and they underestimated Miss Sherry. They probably think robbing is more profitable than bowing and scraping. Every time something like this happens, my faith in humanity wavers a little more. But these people seem all right. If it weren't for them, I might still be lost in grief over Susanna's death. Sherry turned to face everyone. You all know that if you want to stay here, you have to work, right? Knox immediately raised his hand. Then I'll go check on the herbs. Amy also chimed in. I can look after the herbs too. Amy looked at him defiantly. I said it first. If you don't believe me, ask big sister Sherry. Sherry looked at Eden. Sir Eden, there's something that's been on my mind. Didn't you say you were going to find your sister? You said you were leaving last time. Eden's gaze lowered. I'll stay until you've recovered. So he's been by my side all this time. Aurora should be safe. But Sherry straightened up. I'm fine now. Eden immediately retorted, no, you're not. Sherry's cheeks puffed out in anger. I said I'm fine. How could you know my own body better than I do? Eden stated calmly, Miss Sherry, you always overestimate your strength. A body full of muscles doesn't mean everything is fine. If I'm not here, who's going to stop you from rushing into danger? And besides, it's obvious someone is coming to cause trouble for you again. I sound like a silly girl who doesn't understand anything. But honestly, it is reassuring to have Sir Eden around, even if more trouble comes. Sherry crossed her arms. After this is over, you'll go find your sister, okay? We have a deal. Eden's gaze deepened. I will. After I find her, I'll come back immediately. Sherry turned her back to him. If you can't find her, you're welcome to come back. But if you do find her, don't come back. Eden wants to repay me for saving his life. Honestly, I think he's already done more than enough. Why shouldn't I come back? Sherry met his gaze. Like I said before, if you really want to repay me, then live well for me. Live until the very last moment. Sir Eden, we'll talk later. The two turned at the same time, their gazes fixed on the distance. Looks like we have uninvited guests. The world has fallen to ruin and the depravity of humanity is laid bare. I always thought this only happened in stories. Monsters roared as they pounced on the fleeing crowd. Bodies littered the ground. Monsters gnawed on the remains. Amy's voice trembled. Big sister, did you see that? Those lunatics are using dead people as bait. Eden's face was grim. We don't even know if those people were already dead or if they were killed for this purpose. Look closely. All the dead are the weak. Sherry covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes filled with disgust. It's so filthy and disgusting. Knox looked at her. Miss Sherry, what do you plan to do? Eden's tone was icy. Just say the word, and I'll make sure they never set foot in this mansion. Knox agreed. This time, I completely agree with Lancaster. Amy also chimed in, me too, big sister. They're clearly after the mansion. Sherry sighed lightly. There's no need to get our hands dirty. Strengthening the mansion's defenses will be enough. Her eyes sharpened. The real problem is the monsters that follow the townspeople. Sherry's thoughts raced. Frankly, I think it would be better to go out and help deal with the monsters. If, as Eden said, we can eliminate the monsters and take back the town. Amy looked troubled. Please, there are only 4 of us. That's suicide. Bloody monsters closed in, their twisted faces letting out roars. A survivor was in tears, their body trembling uncontrollably. Please, don't kill me. I'll die too if this goes on. A man suddenly grabbed the woman next to him. He threw her towards the monsters. The woman screamed in terror, her body arcing through the air. She fell heavily to the ground, her scythe slipping from her grasp. A shadow fell over her. The monster opened its bloody maw. Blood splattered. The sound of tearing flesh and breaking bones pierced the air. The survivors watched this scene in horror. A man roared, "You piece of trash. How could you do that to a living person?" The man who pushed her revealed a hideous smile. To hell with trash. I just want to live. He roared hysterically. You're all alive now because of me. I don't want to die. The man turned and ran. A survivor gasped in a low voice, Jackson, maybe we should go ask that girl in the mansion for help. Another man roared, seeing how things are now, you still hold on to that kind of hope? He pointed to the distant watchtower. They're looking down on us like gods, with no intention of helping at all. Back then, you were the one who shamelessly wanted to take their place, who wanted to kill me and have that place all to yourself. And now you're acting like a god yourself. Eden cupped Sherry's face with both hands. Miss Sherry, don't listen to the filth spouted by that trash. It will only tarnish your soul. That was close. If Eden hadn't been here, I might have really thrown a catapult at them. No matter how despicable a person is, I still can't bring myself to kill them. Thank you. Eden similit faintly. He turned to Knox. Knox, get ready to open the main gate with the child. Knox was bewildered. Open the gate? Big sister, are we really going to help those people? Sherry's smile held a hint of determination. It's not for them. It's for myself. I don't want to carry the guilt. I can go alone. He allowed a light laugh. I knew you'd say that. I'll cover you. You lead the way. How could I possibly leave when something like this is happening? Sherry looked at him. No matter what happens, he always comes back to my side. Am I going to die like this? A flash of a sword's light, and a monster fell. Eden stood in front of the survivor. He urged loudly, get inside, quick. Green blood splattered. Eden's figure weaved through the horde of monsters. The surviving woman trembled and said, thank you. Thank you. She looked in terror towards Sherry's direction. Look over there. It's that lady. A 2-headed monster roared as it approached Sherry. Sherry's eyes were cold and determined. My first impression of her was that she was beautiful, like a star candy come to life. Sweet and exquisite, almost unreal. Her clothes were also impeccable, perfectly complementing her figure and aura. An elegant lady from afar. Soon after, rumors spread that she was hoarding the village's supplies in an abandoned house. I didn't pay much attention at the time. It wasn't until the monsters attacked, and we were trapped in the inn that I learned she was more famous than the nobles in the capital. Miss Sherry. Her name is Sherry. Unbelievable. How can such a petite body fight against such a terrifying monster? It's as if she lives in another world. A survivor muttered to himself, oh no, it seems she can't fight at full strength because she's protecting us. A woman gripped a man's arm tightly. Victor, if things go bad, let's at least save those 2. The man nodded in agreement. That's a good idea. Sherry was anxious. What should I do? It's hard to fight while protecting those 2. It seems to be the same for Eden over there. Should I just rush into the mansion? Damn it, I have to think of something. A gunshot rang out. Eden's eyes sharpened. A gun? Could it be? Harrison raised his gun and aimed. He took a deep breath. The gun fired, and the monster fell. A smile appeared on Harrison's face. I've finally found you. My only little sister. Sherry stood frozen, her expression complicated. She threw herself into Harrison's arms. Harrison, you're alive. I knew it. Harrison hugged her back, his voice hoarse. I was so worried about you. Sherry looked up, her eyes moist. You're not hurt, are you? Thank you for being alive. Harrison gently stroked Sherry's hair. You must have suffered a lot. Sherry's voice trembled slightly. Of course. It would have been better if you'd come sooner. Susanna helped me, so I'll forgive you. Harrison looked around. By the way, is Susanna in the mansion? Sherry's body stiffened. Susanna. She turned into a monster. With my own hands. Harrison interrupted her. That wasn't your fault. Thank you for holding on until now. Vanilla let out a light cough from the side, breaking the warmth of the reunion. Sherry suddenly came to her senses. All right, what was I even thinking? Eden turned to Harrison. Harrison, do you know Miss Vanilla? Harrison avoided his gaze. It's a long story. Sherry's gaze went past them. And who was that person? A strange man was carrying a gun, a playful smile on his face. Wow, he looks younger than me, but is excessively handsome. He smiled and introduced himself. Hello, Miss Sherry. I am Jose Cambrin. I heard about you on the way here. A carefully protected princess. What's with this kid? Sherry's mind went blank. Wait, Jose Cambrin, the supporting male character from the original novel, the weapons expert, Jose Cambrin. She recalled. Back then, Harrison said he would send someone to teach me how to use a gun. So that person was Jose. Knox, Vanilla, Eden, and now Jose. The main characters of the novel are all gathered at the happy home. It seems I've completely messed up the original plot. A survivor stepped forward and bowed deeply. Miss Sherry, thank you. I really don't know how to repay you. Uncle Victor and Aunt Emma have sworn allegiance to Big Sister. Sherry and the other survivors looked at each other. The atmosphere was awkward. Eden fronit. Miss Sherry, you should just ignore that nonsense. Get some rest first. A lot of people want to grab you and ask endless questions. Sherry pointed at herself. My goodness, I guess this is the price of being a hero. All right, everyone, let's rest for now. Sunlight streamed down. The survivors gathered together, their faces etched with exhaustion and the relief of survival. It seemed everyone needed to catch their breath. Capital of the Great Inn Kingdom. Inside a salon. I'm so scared. What do we do now? Aurora covered her mouth with her hand, her body trembling slightly. Should I have just stayed home? No. All the nobles who fled outside turned into monsters. A woman lay slumped over a table, her voice weak. The food is almost gone. When will the rescue team arrive? Another woman comforted her. The royal family or the police will act soon. Let's just wait a little longer. The police. If brother were here, I wouldn't be so anxious. But he's in Brunel, in the dark about the situation. A scream pierced the silence of the salon. Footsteps grew closer. Have the monsters reached here already? The main doors burst open. Two soldiers rushed in with their guns raised, quickly securing the area. Survivors found. No signs of infection detected. The survivors gathered together. We're saved. They come to save us. People cried with joy. Thank heavens. Aurora's heart skipped a beat. If it's the rescue team, could it be? Military boots stamped on the floor, making a dull thud. Oh my God. The soldiers stood in formation. A man in a magnificent military uniform walked into the hall. The crowd knelt in astonishment. Your Highness, why have you come in person? Theodore's gaze was sharp as he scanned the room. The situation is urgent. Forgive my intrusion. The crowd quickly responded, Of course, Your Highness. You've come to save us, haven't you? A large-scale epidemic is spreading across the country. But do not worry. From now on, please follow the military's instructions and act calmly. Can you do that? Yes. We'll listen to you. Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you for saving us. The person who came isn't my brother. Theodore walked up to Aurora. You're here, miss. I've been looking for you. Why you were looking for me? Eden asked me to protect you if a dangerous situation arose. My brother did? His original request was a bit different, but there's no need to let her know that for now. Speaking of which, Miss, Theodore smiled faintly. Aren't you that little rascal Eden's sister? I've been worried about his well-being. I'm also curious if he's safe. Theodore extended a hand to Aurora. So what do you say? Are you willing to come with me? To Brunel. Sherry cupped her chin with both hands, a bright smile on her face. All right, let's start with some introductions. Sherry sat at the head of a long table, with the survivors seated on either side. A blond man spoke up. I am Victor Hope. This is Emma Swope. We survived all thanks to you, miss. If there's anything we can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. Sherry smiled. Aside from you two, everyone living here must earn their keep. Victor immediately responded. In that case, I'd like to be in charge of food supplies and cooking. I used to be a chef at an inn. Emma also added, I'm good at mending clothes and broken items. Sherry's eyes lit up. A chef and a seamstress. I've really hit the jackpot. Vanilla cleared her throat. I think you all should know me. I'm Vanilla. My name is Jose. Modifying weapons is my specialty, so leave it to me. If you need someone put in their place, just call me. Sherry made a soft sound. We can talk about that later. Amy clasped her hands. I'm Amy Woolton. I'm a pharmacist, but to be honest, I used to make a living as a pickpocket. Of course, I won't do that here. That's all in the past. If Eden heard that, he wouldn't let it go so easily. He noticed Sherry's gaze. He sighed. Olmaden, Dunjan Lanjustov. I was planning to go to the capital, but I don't dare to leave. I always feel that without me, someone here would cause all hell to break loose. Sherry's gaze sharpened. Wait, why are you looking at me? What on earth did I do? And what's with that person over there? Knox crossed his arms, with a smile on his face. Knox, Cornell Rutherford. As you all know, I'm a doctor. If you have any physical discomfort or abnormalities, please feel free to come to me. This team composition is surprisingly reliable. Harrison, Howard, I'm the legal advisor for the Sinclair family. In that case, I'll be in charge of supplies and administration. Sherry clasped her hands, her face full of joy. That's great. I wouldn't trust anyone but Harrison with this. Finally, I'm Sherry. Sinclair, I probably don't need much of an introduction, right? She folded her hands with a bright smile. But Harrison, there's something I'm dying to know. Sherry leaned forward, her eyes full of curiosity. Harrison replied calmly, Miss, please ask, how did the three of you meet? And how did you get here? Also, what's the situation in the capital now? Harrison pushed up his glasses. I was on the train when the incident happened, so I'm not very clear about the current situation in the capital. As for how we got here, that might be a long story. The platform was bustling with people. A red train was parked quietly. Passengers waited outside the carriages. Harrison sat by the window, looking at the documents in his hand. The departure time was dragging on for too long. A train conductor appeared at the carriage door and announced loudly to the passengers, due to traffic control in the Westmore region, the train's departure will be delayed. Please wait patiently. Traffic control? Could there have been an accident? Maybe I should switch to a carriage. What? A commotion came from within the carriage. Harrison stood up and looked towards the door. It was unusually noisy outside. He frowned. A sense of foreboding washed over him. Harrison's pupils suddenly contracted. What? A scream tore through the carriage. What the hell is that thing? The passengers panicked. Let's just run first. It's blocked over there. We can't get through. Harrison's eyes were resolute. We have to break through head-on, even if it means taking a risk. Quick, grab your weapons and find Sherry. Harrison suddenly rushed out. At that moment, he remembered something Sherry had once said. Sherry had once said with a smile, in an almost naive tone, you know, the world is about to be destroyed soon. Harrison's gaze darkened. He had thought it was just a joke, a bizarre and unremarkable prophecy. But now it had become reality. An infectious disease that could turn people into monsters was about to spread. I'm going to Brunel to prepare for the apocalypse. Did Sherry know something all along? Harrison ran through the chaos, a thought flashing through his mind. Could this be the reason she, suddenly, bought a country villa and hoarded weapons? He looked at the tightly shut door. Harrison yanked open the carriage door. He stared in shock at the person before him. A man wearing a hat was squatting in the corner. Harrison recognized him. Jose. Cameron. Jose was startled. He abruptly raised his gun. Whoa, you scare me to death. Jose chuckled. Mr. Lawyer is here too. Huh? People suddenly went crazy, and I was wondering what happened. It's great to see a familiar face safe and sound. Harrison's expression darkened. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be in Brunel right now? Jose adjusted his hat. I'm very busy too, okay? I got here as fast as I could. Harrison's tone was icy. If I had known you were so busy, I wouldn't have hired you in the first place. I called you because I wanted you to get to Brunel before me. What's the meaning of running into you here? Jose replied nonchalantly. It's the lawyer's fault for not confirming my schedule properly. Harrison was furious. If you were busy, you should have said so. Whose fault do you think this is? A loud bang interrupted their argument. The carriage shook violently. Harrison and Jose were startled at the same time. The two looked at each other, and the atmosphere instantly froze. Harrison's pupils suddenly contracted. Let's get out of here for now. Outside the carriage, a monster lunged at the door. Jose quickly turned, grabbed a backpack from behind him, and threw it to Harrison. Then, Jose shouldered his gun and asked calmly, where are you planning to go? The capital? No. Looking at the situation now, instead of going back to the capital, it's better to go straight to Brunel. Sherry is likely already in Brunel and has set up an inescapable trap. Jose raised his gun and aimed. He said in a low voice, anyway, Brunel is closer than the capital. We have no other choice. Harrison slung the backpack over his shoulder. Follow the tracks. We have to get to Brunel, Harrison ordered in a deep voice. Then a gunshot rang out. He kicked open the door. He leaped out. Jose followed close behind. He shouted, "Run!" The two of them sprinted down the tracks. Horned F station. The train was stopped at a desolate platform. The carriage was deathly silent. A gurgling sound came from a monster's throat. Vanilla leaned against the wall, panting heavily. Sweat trickled down her cheeks. Damn it, what the hell is going on? If I had known, I wouldn't have gone to the capital. I should have just stayed in Brunel. In any case, this situation is completely out of control. My father died suddenly in a car accident. All he left me was a huge debt and a few dilapidated mansions. I was on my way there at the time because I heard that at one of the mansions, Lottingham Manor, thought a riot had broken out. Who would have thought that on the train from the capital? Thought a monster would come running off. Maybe I should go back to Brunel. A smile spread across Jose's face. Looks like there's a normal person over by the lawyer. Jose waved his arms and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Run!" Harrison followed close behind. The two of them fled desperately through a horde of corpses, with countless pursuing monsters behind them. Who is that person? Is he crazy? Night enveloped the mountain forest. The railway tracks stretched out from a dark tunnel. Three figures ran under the moonlight. Jose stopped abruptly. He bent over, gasping for breath. Vanilla also stopped, her voice broken from panting. Who on earth are you people? Where did you attract all those monsters from? Harrison adjusted his glasses. He calmly introduced himself. I'm Harrison. Howard, the advisory lawyer for the Sinclair family. I am Jose. Cameron. Vanilla interrupted impatiently. Who said I was interested in your names? Wait a minute. Sinclair? Vanilla's gaze sharpened instantly. Vanilla turned to him. Are you going to Brunel now? Harrison looked astonished. Yes, how did you know? Vanilla explained. I sold a mansion to that young lady. This road also leads to Brunel. A sly smile appeared on her face. I happen to be going to Brunel as well. Why don't I take you to Miss Sherry? In return, you just have to put in a few good words for me in front of Miss Sherry. Jose and Harrison exchanged a look. Sound good. Let's go together. The morning light was faint. The town of Brunel was deathly silent. Buildings were stained with blood. Corpses littered the streets. Jose's boots stepped through pools of blood. This place is a mess too. Harrison's brow was tightly furrowed. He looked at the tragic scene. Strange. The level of destruction is severe, but by comparison, there are too few monsters. There are human corpses everywhere. A man waved his hand. He smiled and greeted, Hey, is Vanilla going hunting now? Vanilla gritted her teeth. Gates, is Miss Sherry's mansion still far? Vanilla glanced into the distance. He pointed to a clock tower in the distance. See that clock tower? The mansion behind it is the one the young lady bought. He urged, Then let's hurry. I have a bad feeling. Harrison shuddered. He looked at the scene before him. I know monsters devour humans. But think about the true identity of those monsters. Since they're human, Jose's pupils constricted. He muttered to himself, Just now, a person turned into a monster. Harrison raised his gun. Stand back. I'll handle it. Vanilla raised her gun and aimed into the distance. There's still living people over there. Jose's gaze swept over the people in the distance. Who are those people? Harrison's eyes were firm. I'll take the lead. You cover me just like that time. Harrison recognized me immediately. That makes sense. After all, we're the only family each other has left in this world. Harrison, his face scarred, smiled. I finally found you. Harrison looked at Sherry. He breathed a sigh of relief. I'm truly relieved that you've arrived safely, miss. Sherry rested her chin on her hand and replied softly, Me too, Harrison. Harrison pushed up his glasses. He said softly, Miss, I have many things I want to ask you. Let's meet alone tonight and talk in detail. Sherry was startled. Tonight, what's coming will come. Or should I even begin to explain? Sherry waved her hand. Let's talk about that later. The introductions are finally over. Let's dismiss for now. A smile was on Sherry's face. Harrison has arrived too. Now all I have to do is figure out how to survive. Her smile was easy as cold sweat trickled down. I really want to run away. Eden walked up to her. Miss Sherry, let's talk about the search operation. Sherry looked up at him. Is it urgent? I'd like to rest for a bit. Eden Leonid Kulusov. Sherry said in a low voice. Is that so? You look like you want to run away. I just want to help you. Sherry crossed her arms, forcing a calm expression. I just think now is a good time for a strategy meeting. Harrison watched them from a distance. When did those two get so close? Knox sidled up to Harrison. Lawyer Howard, Miss Sherry and I are on very good terms too, you know. Knox beamed. By the way, it's been a while. Aren't you going to say hello to your older brother? Harrison adjusted his glasses. Have I ever really played the part of a younger brother properly? Harrison walked away. Knox's gaze followed him, his expression unreadable. Knox's lips curved up slightly. Compared to someone like me who doesn't care about family bloodlines, you two look more like a family. Harrison and Eden are, after all, the same kind of person. Calm, strong, and gentle. Completely different from trash like me. Knox asked with a smile, "What are you two doing over there? Having so much fun behind my back." "I'll be sad, Miss Sherry." Sherry turned her face away. "We weren't playing. The situation just now was urgent." Knox's lips curled. "I'm very curious. If it were him, what kind of person would he see me as?" He was surrounded by 3 men, his expression displeased. A voice echoed in the darkness. "Save me. I'm begging you. Save me, Miss Sherry."